Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. It is back. It is round one of the Virtual World Sportscar Championship, and it is the 1964 Historics here this evening as well. We are launching them off at 2.4 of Daytona here, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We've got the Ferrari 250 GTO, the Shelby Daytona Coupe, the Corvette C2 Stingray, Alfa Romeo Giulia TZM Mark 1 with the Alpine A110, the Lotus B23 Ford, and the Porsche 904 GTS. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Bradley Dalton here this evening, with Paul Glover in the background on production here as well. And I can honestly, safely say, sit back and enjoy the show. We have been watching these cars in practice, and it's been very, very eventful here from some of them. Some of them are loose, some of them are not so loose, but they're all a handful to drive here as well. But let's bring Bradley into the booth. Bradley, good afternoon for you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, James. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world. Again, the fun of sim racing is wherever you're at in the world, you can sit back and enjoy this. Maybe you're sitting on the couch. If you are, go pop a bag of popcorn and hang out for the next couple hours, because I will tell you, the historic championship here, these 64 cars, I love it. And 64 cars, I think we're nearing that entry amount. I know it's a record number of cars entered in for this league, and we were talking before the broadcast of just everything that shows and how amazing it is to see 64 entrants, James?
49. We've got 49 currently in this session, but I believe we'll have a chat with Ross, who is in the booth here with us very shortly as well, just to get a final confirmation as well. Let's bring you up the track details here this evening as well. It is at Daytona, 6.13 kilometers, 3.81 miles. You can see on the screen we are using the 57 to 75 layout, and I will tell you one of the major differences here as well. As you can see it on the track map, there are no chicanes. It is a straight run from turn 7 all the way round to turn 1. They are going to be booking it as well, and you're going to see some absolutely amazing racing here this evening. We've got divisions here this season as well. They are all on street tires with the Div 3 and the Div 1 and 2, so you keep an eye out for the division championships there as well, the respective division championships, of course, as well. And don't forget, keys to this race. Well, what are they going to have to contend with? It is rain threatening. Earlier on in practice, I was informed by Mr. Paul Glover, who told me that some people were having horrendous trips in the rain there as well. And we've got the oval versus the infield, that straight run from 7 all the way round as well. So we'll see on that one. Now let's bring you up the calendar for this series here as well. You can see today we are at Daytona, then we are heading to Sebring on the 9th of March, then we're going to Targa Florio on the 30th of March. On the 13th of April we're heading to Spa-Francorchamps, and then we've got Le Mans on the 4th of May, the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. Then we're going to Reims on the 1.2 hours. Then we've got the Coppa Carotti Hill Climb. That's going to be a first for us here on the JPB and the CMS YouTube channel, so we'll be going there as well. Then we're off to Coppa Diena on the 10th of August for 65 laps around there. Goodwood on the 17th of August. Nürburgring on the 5th of October. Monza on the 26th of October. Bridgehampton on to the 16th of November. And then we're going Provence Alps Hill Climb, another hill climb, on the 30th of November there as well. And then we're off to Paris, the wonderful city of love, on the 7th of December for the season finale. Let's have a quick chat. We've got Mr. Smith in the booth. Good evening to you, Mr. Ross Smith. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you, James. And hello to everybody out there. It's great to be here. We're very excited to get this thing going. We're actually out here doing a pit spot check because we've got quite a few cars. It should, we had, I think, 54 initially signed up. We had a couple that had to pull out just for different things at the last minute. Although I will say that there are a few teams that had 3 drivers signed up, so at least 2 of those drivers are going to be doing swaps today. It's only like, I want to say 5 teams maybe that are in that particular boat, maybe even less than that at this point. But yeah, very full, and as you mentioned, you've got a couple divisions out here, and the speed difference on the oval is going to be tremendous. It'll be very exciting throughout the entire run.
Yeah, definitely. I was pestering you for most of last season to get a gear out of you, and you wouldn't crack, to be fair. You weren't a little soft nut that I could crack. You just kept it all tight to your chest, Mr. Smith, despite how many times I pestered you as well. Tell us, what has gone into producing these cars? You know, they are great looking machines, and you know, even sitting there with Bradley Sellers in his cockpit looks absolutely incredible. You know, tell us what the work and what the effort has been going into this.
It's been tremendous. I mean, we've been working on these cars for the better part of the last year, just getting them put together, getting them all tested. The biggest challenge, I think, for this entire thing has been getting the Division 1 and 2 cars, so that way they actually are comparable performance. Because as they were back in the day, Division 1 was 1300 cc or under, Division 2 was under 2000 cc, and then 3 was over 2000. So bringing all Division 1 and 2 together in a way that was balanced was a huge challenge. I mean, they probably spent, I would say, at least 65% of their time at just getting all of that worked out versus anything else. So yeah, it's been a lot of work. Everybody's been pulling their weight, doing a great job. There's still some work to be done, you know, graphically, and then also within some of the balances we go through the season. We'll tweak and poke, but we're very excited at the condition that the mod is in right now, and everyone's been loving this historic Daytona, the first one in R-Factor 2, brought together by George Angelidis and Ben Borman, doing tremendous work on it. I think Don Fryman also did some work there from Storm Gang, and this is actually a conversion of James Mabe's James Tracks Daytona, the modern version, so he's been gracious enough to allow us to do these changes. You're going to see it's a lot darker than it is in modern times, and the throw of these headlights as we go into the nighttime is going to be concerning, I should say, as the closing rates are going to be tremendous. You're outrunning your headlights.
I think that's the thing. Out of the cars that we've got, Ross, if we were to explain to people how we've broken down the Div 1, the Div 2, how would we categorize what we've got at the moment for people at home? What cars are where in conjunction with the divisions?
So Div 1 and 2 includes the Porsche 904, the Alfa Romeo Giulia, the Alpine A110, and the Lotus 23B, the skateboard. So those are our slower cars. It's wild because the power to weight ratio compared to the Div 3, which are the faster, the Shelby, the C2 Corvette, and the Ferrari 250 GTO, you'll see them be competitive in the twistier bits. And as we go through some of the races during the season, like Targa Florio or Enna Ragusa, it's especially the hill climbs. The disparity between the performances of these cars is going to show up, and you're going to have, I guarantee it, one of these races being won overall by a Division 1 2 car, just because of that nature alone. It's wild.
Yeah, I think that's what we are looking forward to as well. You know, we can see on your screen there as well, Nicholas Hildebrand in the Ferrari 250 GTO. I'd like to, if I can, persuade our lovely director to go down to the Corvette C2 Stingray. And that's in the hands of JT Tammy at the moment there as well. I do love the Stingray. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big Stingray fan. If I could own one, it would be a 67 Stingray there as well, because it just looks absolutely incredible. In conjunction with modding the car, Ross, you know, where would you get images of the older cars from? Where would you get the specs for the older cars? Because obviously, you know, 1964 is a long time ago. You know, Paul was born then, so he might remember some of these. But, you know, for me and you, for us younger people, Ross, as well, you know, where did you get all the imagery and all the perspectives for them from?
So, I mean, it's been a collaborative effort. We worked with, I mean, you can see in some of the credits and everything, some of the people we work with for some of the models. George he's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to everything sports car. So, I mean, he's a great point of reference to at least find diving off points. I mean, he understands the mechanics of the cars and how everything is kind of put together. So he knows where a lot of that stuff is. We have a lot of different resources around to give us historical information to look to comparisons, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's just a fact-finding mission. We've actually had a few drivers who were around the scene back in these days when these cars ran, as well as a few drivers who are familiar with the historical series that run, and so they have an idea, at least, you know, some of the tires, some of the car handling performance, chassis values, stuff like that. They can give us some really good insight into just all the different details that we want to get into and understand, like, you know, how did this go, and we'll work from there. We'll balance the cars a little bit just to make sure that they work, so that way they're competitive within the sim, and that, you know, you don't have just, like, you know, back in the day, Porsche 904 dominated. I mean, it crushed everything, and the Alfa Romeo, the Giulia, was basically the car that was trying to fight it, and it was trying to punch up, and you know, it was successful in some places, but the 904 was just, you know, it crushed it. So we do a few things to change that, you know, adjusting fuel level, fuel burn, torque, acceleration, top end, drag, like those types of values to maintain the characteristics of the cars, while also making sure that they can be competitive and win pretty much anywhere during the course of the season. Might be difficult some places versus others, but that's what you got.
Okay, and what are we going with, Ross, for yourself as your weapon of choice? What's your car choice here as well for this one?
Well, I love you know, Brock's Shelby Daytona. Man, this is before Ford versus Ferrari, before they actually had their GT40s out there running, and this was basically, you know, Shelby's shop trying to figure out how they could convert the Cobras to make them, because they were open top, and you know, they would just get destroyed at Le Mans, and that's where they wanted to beat Ferrari. So they came up with this little number, and it actually was doing really well. Had a few reliability issues, and that kind of kept it from showing its true performance over the season if you're just looking at stats. But man, it was just an absolute thunderbolt on all of the races that it ran, including Le Mans. So it actually got disqualified because I had to jump the battery at one point, and the French said, nope, you're out of here. So it was going to win, but sadly it was not to be. But yeah, I love this car. You know, it's got great history, great lineage. It feels great to run. I mean, all three of the Div 3s are wonderful. I love them and their stories behind all of them. The Div 1 and 2 cars are also just very unique, going back through, like, reading Wikipedias, reading like the different specialty web pages about like the little histories here and there, like what they all did. It's great fun, and I recommend it to anyone. You know, just reading, watching, doing whatever you can to get into some of this history.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a question in YouTube chat there from Tony McCoffin, who has said, is any of the Smile Powered guys teaming up for this event? I can't see them on the... got Mike Bell and Bradley Sellers. I presume they're together.
Yeah, and I think that one of their other drivers might have actually been Tony, who's supposed to be in with them. I don't know that for certain, but their third dropped out, so they're going to be in their own cars for today.
Okay, well, there you go. I hope that answers your question there. Good evening, Mr. Reese. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Reese is here every single time. Nobody knows who he is, though, Ross, but he turns up every single VWSC event. So there
We love him. He's a VIP, man.
VIP, exactly, as well. Going into, if you haven't, guys, I will give you a little bit of an insight to this as well. If you haven't watched the Le Mans 66 show, the film that's on Netflix, about the GT40 and the Ferrari battle, you should definitely go and watch it back, because it is an incredible watch. I've watched it a few times, in fact, to be honest, because I liked it that much. It is an incredible run there as well. The story of Carroll Shelby, it is just unbelievable. So go and watch it back. It is awesome film to watch as well. If you haven't watched it, Le Mans 66 on Netflix there as well. There always is some great history when you start going back through the ages, Ross. You know, when in conjunction, you say you've been working on this for a year, when in conjunction do you start planning next year? When are you sitting back thinking, we've got to work on the cars for next year?
It's already begun. And no, you can't know what year that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there you go, YouTube chat. I tried. I thought I'd bring him in a different way, but still didn't work there either. So you've already working on next season's cars already?
Oh yeah, yep. Work has begun. It's going to be a very popular one, I think.
Is it the 66?
I will say that we generally don't pick years that are very close to one another.
I know, but there's a big jump, isn't there, from 64 to 66 in the way the sports car scene was presented, the cars itself. Come on, make me a happy bunny.
I'm afraid not. But what I'll say for today's race, keep an eye on the way that the cars interact with one another, just because you do have big differences between fuel tanks and performance infield, outfield. Some cars that are going to look like they're running away with the show, they're going to suddenly find themselves in the thick of it. And if that rain is supposed to come in later, like it's looking it should, you guys are going to have a lot of fun up there.
Well, there you go, guys. I tried as best as I can to get even a remote hint out of Mr. Smith, and, well, as per normal, I didn't get it. So, there you go. But, yeah, don't forget, as I've just had it blasted in my ear as well, we will be going into night racing, of course. It is an advancement of the Daytona here, so there will be a 5 times, Ross, is that right? 5 times speed on it?
Yeah, so if the clouds aren't totally squashing out the sun, you should see a little bit of a sunset go through, and then you go into night and you can see just how unlit up this track was way back in the day.
Well, there we go. So we will be seeing that as well. Ross, it's been a pleasure. We're at the end of warm-up, buddy. You go. Oh, do you know the only thing I'm very upset about, Ross, is we didn't see you all run into your car.
Stick around for Le Mans.
Oh, yes, right. That's made me a very happy buddy. Ross, thank you so much, everybody, for coming in and having a chat to me, mate. And I'll catch up with you, hopefully, at the end of the race on the podium.
I would love that, but we'll see. All right, thanks. Good luck, everyone.
Take care. Well, there you go, Brad. As per normal, Mr. Smith keeping his cards close to his chest as always, and never really doing a lot here and telling us anything currently at the moment. But we are at the end of practice. We should be able to bring up the grid for you as well here, as we'll wait for it to come up, and then we will guide you through the grid on this occasion. Who's going to be there as well? Right, so we will have the session results up for you very, very shortly. Bradley Sellers is on the front row next to Ethan Funk. Then you've got Magnus Dahlgren and Kyle Vesser there as well. Daytona Ferrari and a Daytona. Then we go into Ross Smiths with his Daytona. JT Tammy in the Stingray. Go JT. Timon Subic in the Ferrari, and then Jerry Chen in the Ferrari 250 GTO. On from there, Nicholas Kirstens in the Ferrari as well. Then Mike Bell in the Shelby Daytona. Then Nicholas Hildebrand in the Ferrari, and Miguel Ramos in the Ferrari as well. They're rounding out the top 12. Barry DiMarzo in the Ferrari, Jason Wyden in the Daytona, the George Angelides in the Ferrari, and John Mayer also in the Ferrari there. Jarek Zak in the Daytona with Peter Meyer in the Stingray. Then we go into Ben Borman in the Lotus 23B4. That's the Div 1, Div 2s, and Dan Kirby there as well. Daniel Herlog in the Alfa Romeo Giulia with Oliver Newman in the Porsche, then Becky Ely in the Lotus, and then Reese Gardner is in the Alfa Romeo Giulia in 24th place. On from that, Darren Andrews in the Porsche 904 with Elke Busenik in the Porsche 904 on 26. In 27th, Diego Castro and Tigran Mkhitaryan there as well. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Oh my dearie me. In 29th is Alexei Zagordonev in the Porsche with David Junt in the Alfa Romeo Giulia, and then Alexander Nikoroskov in that one after there. And 33rd is Robert Strachan, Oliver Day, Gilles Lalonde and Felipe Ducati down in 36th place. Then we've got John Uyan in 37, Craig Bullitt 37, Matt Trexoff 38, John Uyan 39th, and Stephen Miller in 40th place there as well. So there we go, that is the top half of the table, again with James Bowders, Adam Gray, Mateus all alongside from that one as well. So thank you so much for everybody who has come along. And as you can see, Bradley Sellers on your screen at the moment in time, out in front, leading the pack in that wonderful, beautiful, amazing looking machine there, Brad. And I think you can only say these guys have done a stellar job with these mods.
Yeah, they've done, this is such a good production of these cars, and I'm very, very excited to see how they end up at the end of 2 hours. And I'm watching through, I really like the show of Daytona. I should be a Stingray fan, just based on my proximity to the Corvette Museum and the Corvette production plant, but man, I really like the Daytonas. And yes, it is something to do with the name, but it's going to be a good 2 hours here. We're not that far off from the green flag.
Yeah, definitely as well. Bradley Sellers leading the way with Funk behind that one as well. But you can see in the bottom right-hand corner at the moment there as well is currently, is that still there as well? Yeah, that's it. There you go. You can see the cars heading down towards you on the right-hand side. Nathaniel McPhee, go Oliver Day, he said there as well. Let us know if everything is okay, as Paul said in YouTube chat, guys. Don't forget to give us, any feedback is always good, so we know what is going on here as well with sound and production. But they're going to be coming, Brad, around that long back straight, and I'm going to call it a straight technically, with the NASCAR 1 and 2, or what is traditionally known as NASCAR 1, 2, 3 and 4, straight run down into turn 1. That's going to be an insane amount of speed they're carrying.
Yeah, that run into turn 1 is going to be make or break, and I am fully expecting several people to forget how the brake pedal works in these cars, because of course, remember, these aren't the modern cars that you're used to that are just going to stop on a dime. These aren't hypercars. They are, in all essence, a driver's car. This is about the driver's skill. You don't have any assist on board. You can't go and tweak the brake bias in the middle. This is all about what can you do to hold this car together.
Yeah, we are underway. Bradley Sellers out in front with Ethan Funk, Dahlgren, Besser, Smith, JT Tammy, Timon Suvic and Mike Bell there as they're roaring their way currently at the moment here as well, right the way down to what is the horseshoe here as well at Daytona. It is turn 3 before they go off around turn 4 here currently at the moment. We've got the Div 1, Div 2s are going to be up and running as well as they're in the background. We have got an orange zone all the way around to turn 7. It's not that you can't overtake, it's just the fact that obviously any overtaking in that area, and if you cause any accidents or penalties, you will have to incur an induced penalty on that one. So they've got to be a little bit careful what they've got to go achieve here as well. Magnus Dahlgren here as well, battling in that 89 machine over the 35 of Ethan Funk there in the Ferrari T250 GTO. Ethan Funk currently at the moment here as well. He is sitting in the Shelby Daytona. Absolutely amazing. Everybody looks like they've got away cleanly. Nicholas Kirsten and Nicholas Hildebrand have had an off track right at the beginning of this race as well. So maybe they've had a little bit of a problem, but you can see Dahlgren now. This is where the speed's going to be. This is where they are going to carry the most amount of speed here, Brad, on that run right the way from turn 7 all the way down 164, 5, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour plus at the moment for these guys.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We talk about in the modern series, we talked about Slipstream and everything that went into this. Think about these cars, they're doing 170 miles an hour around the banking here through NASCAR 3 and 4 as we know it now. Just absolutely within millimeters of each other, giving nothing at all. Ethan Funk here is under a lot of pressure from Vesa, and here we go as we run into turn 1. This is where you really have to know how to break
he's gotta get it.
You gotta be slippery, and he's trying to get it, and there goes Ethan Funk into the grass around, and he is gonna lose so much time because it's unforgiving if you mess up turn 1. You need to nail it every bit of these 2 hours, and he's into the wall in the background, and it looks like for him that's detrimental.
Yeah, but he did max out 181 miles an hour, and then he had to get the car stopped, and that alone is going to be a tough one here as well. You see on the replay currently at the moment, we're going to ignore that one. Let's go back to live pictures. We've got Dahlgren, Smith, Vesa and Sellers. Sellers has opened up a little bit of a gap at the front here as well, 2.5 second here from them. We've got Ross Smith, he's got Mike Bell and JT Tammy in that Corvette. Go JT, you beautiful man. But we've got Nicholas Hildebrand and Ilfan Funk, who is currently down in 14th, battling away. But 180 miles an hour, down to stopping on a dime, Brad. Not easy in these cars.
Yeah, these cars do not stop on a dime, and you'll see as we come back around here, when we hit our next lap at turn 1, you're going to watch as the drivers hit the brakes. You'll see everything going, because that's the number 95 there of Hildebrand, who just got pushed off a little bit. And they're in a big battle. They're side by side. You can see traction on these cars is a dime a dozen. It's very, very limited. You've got to sweet talk the car. You really do have to love these cars and keep them together. Left side, you've got the Division 3 battle here as they come out onto, as we know it, NASCAR Turn 2. And then on the right side, we're going to have Ben Foreman and I believe that is Daniel Herlop battling out Division 1 and 2 there as they go down the backstretch. We talked a little bit about it with Ross James, but it's going to be interesting to watch these Division 3 and these Division 1 and 2 cars battle, because the Division 3 cars have a lot more top end, but the 1 and 2 cars are a lot more nimble on that infield. So I'm curious to see how mixed that 1, 2, and 3 group gets as we go through, because there's a lot of good speed, but a lot of good handling as we go through. And watch that left-hand side here as we see the pass.
Yeah, that's Ross Smith on the left-hand side here as well. They're battling away all the while currently at the moment as he's gone down into turn 1. I can tell you now, Ben Borman and Dan Herlock are not very far apart. They're coming into turn 1, and it is as it is. Borman did survive there as well. Into the JT Tammy Mike Bell battle, 5th and 6th. The Stingray versus the Shelby Daytona. I just love the Stingray. It looks absolutely epic. Mind you, it looks a lot heavier than the other cars when you look at it in that way. There as well as Mike Bell. That's Timon Subic trying to go up the inside in the Ferrari GTO here. And we're just going on to a replay. George Angelidis going into turn 1. You are not stopping that, buddy. Enjoy that one there as well. George Angelidis turning that Ferrari into a little bit of a lawnmower as he goes in hot there as well. We've got a freeway battle with Subic here as well. We go down to Timon Subic, JT Tammy. They were 3 wide at one point going round Daytona. Subic's managed to back out at the moment, but it is still Mike Bell and JT Tammy battling it out here as well as they're running side by side. Here are coming off that banking, and they've been doing an absolute stellar job. You can see on their screens here as well. They are literally near enough. You see JT Tammy did get through. Mike Bell's now under attack with Timon Subic right behind him as well here, Brad. Timon Subic currently at the moment, Mike Bell clocking 172 miles an hour. We've got 2 DNFs, Matvey Treschev and Robert Strachan are out currently at the moment here as well. But yeah, JT Tammy, Mike Bell going at it here, Brad. Hammer and tong currently.
Yeah, this is going to be the Shelby versus the Corvette. And we got a quick replay coming up here. And we'll look what this is. This is Andrews going off and just straight on, no break, no nothing. And soon as you get on that grass, it's very, very hard to get stopped and get the car back going. And then there's someone else going off and around. That is Evan going off. Eric Monet going off there. Sorry, I can't read. And getting back on track again. The grass, once you go off, it's hard to go back on. And this is that battle with Mike Bell here, who was just having a time getting that Shelby stopped and around and back through. Back on, but losing out significantly there in turn one. So I have a feeling we could just perch turn one and just watch turn one the whole time and just see everything.
I agree with you. I do fully agree with you there as well. I think turn one is going to be one of the places that we're going to see most of the incidents here as well. We've got on your screen at the moment Ben Borman. He's got Herlock 1.6 seconds back as well in that Lotus 23B Ford. Ross Smith referred to it as a skateboard. Brad, to be honest, I don't think it's far from the truth. It is one of the only, if I'm not mistaken, one of the only open tops we've got here. Everything is a closed tin top after that, apart from that Lotus 23B. I believe all the other cars, if I'm not mistaken, the Alfa Romeo Giulia, Porsche 904, the Alpine, the Stingray, the Daytona and the Ferrari are all tin tops, apart from the Lotus, which is an open top car.
Yeah, see, I don't like the Lotus, and I think it's just because it's open
Sorry?
top. I think if it was a 10 top, I think I'd like it a bit more. It's just, there's something, I don't know, there's something about the look of it that I don't like. It drives well from what I've seen, the drivers are handling it. But controversial opinion, the Lotus is not the car that I would pick in this situation. So kudos to the drivers that are driving it, but it's not my thing. But it's a very, very fast car. It's not the car for me. I don't like the open tops.
All right, well, that will be the last time you see Bradley Dalton up here in the commentary booth for everybody as well. So thanks, Brad, for joining me. No, I only joking. You can see on your left-hand side, we got Ross Smith in the 89 machine battling away with a double, Ross Smith in the 00, battling away with Magnus Dahlgren here as well in this battle. The Div 3s currently at the moment scrapping it out. Some great action from all of these guys. I think you can safely say this beautiful looking machines that we've got, and I can safely say if you are not sat at home wildly impressed by what you are looking at, then please go and research about it. It is absolutely, these cars have been done to absolute perfection. The guys at Storm Gang and everybody that's worked with them have done an absolutely incredible job. Ross Smith and Magnus Dahlgren now starting off their run around the NASCAR turns here, Brad, as well, and it's going to be just an insane amount of speed these guys are going to be packing in that Ferrari and that Shelby Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to hit the end of the straight going into turn one at 180 plus miles an hour. So there is a lot of speed to be found here. And again, if you just think about the fact that these are 1964 cars, this is not your modern car, modern suspension, everything. This is truly, these drivers are having to work for this. This is not a simple, point the car in a direction, it's going to do what you want, hit the brakes, and it's going to handle making sure you stop. We're going to see these guys muscle these cars around. This is going to be a long 2 hours for everyone. We're only 10 minutes in, so they've got another hour and 50 minutes. They have got to muscle these cars around and hold on to it. And as of right now, I'm thoroughly impressed by how the drivers are handling it.
Yeah, Ross Smith topping out 180 there. Dahlgren on a 181 in the Ferrari 250 GTO on your screen at this moment as well. You can see that they are very, very close here. There's a lot of battles materializing throughout this whole field at the moment as well. It's a great battle with Miguel Ramos and Nicholas Hildebrand. They're not very far apart either currently. And then obviously Reese Gardner and Mika Tyron are also very close together once more. And I think that's going to be the theme here. As you can see, Ross Smith trying to get past there as well. We're now down with Ramos as the same. Miguel Ramos here currently battling away in that 25 Ferrari. And he's got Hildebrand in the 95 Ferrari right behind him on that run, of course, through what is technically turn 4 now. And it's still turn 4, but this is turn 5 as they're coming up to the International Horseshoe. But we go back up front with Ross Smith once more as he's still battling with Magnus Dahlgren here, Brad, as well. You think about it in conjunction with modern machinery. You know, when you look at some of the redline RPMs, you know, the Lotus 5,800, the Alpine 9,000 RPM. That is an insane amount of revs these little cars have got.
Yeah, and it's crazy when you look at it because the Lotus is running a Ford V8, and then the Alpine A110 is running a 4-cylinder engine, revving 9,000 RPM. I mean, it's so widely varied depending on what car you're looking at for how it's configured, and it's amazing to me that these cars are so well balanced. There's not one car to me right now, when you look Division 1, 2, or Division 3, there's not a single car that's sticking out to me as outperforming another car. They're all so well balanced in their own right. Each one has its characteristics, each one has something it's better at than the other, but overall they're all very competitive, and I think you could pick whatever car you want and have a great time with it.
Yeah, there's Ben Borman in the bottom right-hand corner in your Lotus, of course, there as well. But we're still picking up on this Hildebrand Ramos Kirsten battle there as well. Oh, sorry, Becky Elias have just been corrected there as well. Sorry about that. From our producer in my hero as well, Nicholas Castens and Miguel Ramos are side by side going round turn 3. You are only hearing my voice at the moment. I'm hearing 2 here, and trust me, I am not in that film with Bruce Willis currently at the moment either. I have got Paul Clever in my ear hole telling me what's going on here. So Miguel Ramos, Nicholas Castens battling it out here, Brad, as well, and he's coming in to turn 5. It seems a Ferrari Daytona kind of front set, doesn't it, in that Div 1, in that Div 3s at the moment. JT Tammy rocking the Stingray, but he's only in 6th here as well, Brad. It seems the Daytona and Ferrari seems to be the popular one.
Yeah, and I think it's just the fact that everyone's a Ferrari fan. Regardless of who you are or what team you support, you're a Ferrari fan. Somebody just went around the front of the camera there. I missed who that was, but I think it was Andrews, just went straight off there as I was trying to think. Now, back to my thought. So many offs that we really can't keep up. Let's get a quick replay here as we see here. I believe this is going to be Andrew. This is Andrews, as I thought it was. Off around, through, down, into the grass. I mean,
turn one.
Man, turn one. We could just sit at turn 1 all day, James, but there's another, 3.5 miles of track to enjoy. But hey, if you ever visit Daytona and you want to know what to do, sit at turn 1 and just thank me later.
Well, that's it. The thing is, at the moment, Brad, my boy comes up to me and he says, "Oh, Dad, it's the 500, right?" And he's been running in the 500 and seeing how he gets on. His run in the 500 went considerably better than mine did. I'm not going to lie, because I had a horrendous one today and it wasn't even funny. But he said to me, and I agreed with him, he said, "Dad," he said, "I know we're going on holiday this year and at the end of the year." I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's the chances of next year going for the Daytona 500? And I said, "Realistically, mate, I don't know." So he then said, "Okay, Dad, can we book it in for 2026 to go for the Daytona 500? So that's where I could be come next in 2026, Brad, for the Daytona 500 as well. I don't know if the D24 would really interest me. I think I'm more of a NASCAR, let's go for it battle here as well. So Andrews and Pope on your screen currently at the moment. They're in 10th and 11th place, I believe, or this is the battle for 10th here currently at the moment. So Daytona 500 for me, Brad. What about you?
Well, I went to the Rolex 24 this year, and I will tell you that for me, it was all about the experience. I got the full 4-day package, showed up on Thursday, watched the MX-5s run. Friday, ended up watching the BMW GT4 Challenge, and then the Michelin Challenge, as it's known. Saturday, I hung out, watched the start of the race. I mean, Daytona 500 is great for action. Rolex 24 is all about the experience. I mean, it's great whichever one you want to pick. I can't recommend one over the other. I mean, you just get action all the way through, and this is action all the way through. These drivers I'm trying to keep thoughts going, and every time I look back at the screen, there's another great battle going on. It's completely catching me off guard here. There's so much action going on. I don't know how Paul is keeping up, and I'm gonna guess he's not.
No, I think he's struggling here as well. We're trying to bring you all the action. You can see at the moment we've got lap cars on your screen and front runners there as well. So we've got the battle for P2 for Division 1 and 2 is on your right-hand side, and that's Kirby and Bussing there as well. But on the left-hand side, we're slicing through traffic. If we can have an on-board shot of what Ross Smith's seeing as he's trying to get through traffic as well, that would be absolutely amazing, because you can just see the way. He's got a lot better vision in this than he did in his Panos last season as well. And I think if you remember the Panos, anybody as well, that had that big old air vent, I presumed it was, wedged on the bonnet there. It was a very horrid car. He couldn't see the left-hand side of the curb. Once he got to any left-handers, he was in trouble there as well. But he's got a lot more vision in this Daytona, and it looks absolutely amazing there as well. Hildebrand on your screen currently at the moment as well. Battle in for P7 with Hildebrand, and I believe that's Nicholas Kirstens right behind him, scrapping away once more. And that's two Ferraris going at it here as well. Thank you so much, as I've been praised there for my ability as a commentator in my era, which is great to hear. Once more, the appreciation. Brad.
And I'm the one getting fired after this because I didn't like the Lotus.
Well, you know, the Lotus is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? The Lotus is what it is, but here currently.
I think we got to replace names. This Diego 137. That's a unique little spot, and I gotta wonder if that doesn't have to do with what I talked about earlier, the lack of ABS, just catching someone off guard, lock it up, send her on. You know, you brake too hard, you panic brake because these cars have to brake, you know, a couple hundred meters earlier than you're probably used to if you've ran the modern Daytona. And so you completely catch it off guard, and you end up doing that, James.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, the amount of speed they're coming off here as well, it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to get the car stopped, and I think that's the problem. They're trying to get it. If you look at a car coming into one, you will find the back end literally sliding around there, as we're on board with Castro currently here once more. And Castro there battling away, of course, again with Day trying to chase down Oliver Day on the screen, not making it currently at the moment. That's Bell and Whitehead here again, scrapping it out. There's so many battles going on screen at the moment here currently, and it's getting very, very exciting here.
Yeah, it's literally anywhere you want to look, there's action going on. All of these cars are very, very close and competitive. They're very well balanced out. They're very similar in performance in different areas, and it's just producing action all the way through. But I'll tell you what's really catching my eye is Bell is consistently locking up that front tire, which I think is impressive in that Shelby Daytona. He's consistently locking those tires up. I'll tell you right now, those street tires are not going to last him another hour and 40 minutes if he does that every time he goes into a corner.
I think that's the thing. If we can stay on board with him, you see how much control he has going into turn one. You can see, obviously, there's traffic around us currently at the moment. But let's see. You'll see if we can get a nice little decent aerial shot above him. You'll see the squirming nature of him as well. So you get a nice little squirm on the car when he starts going onto the brakes. He's going free! He's gonna look. No! Whoa! Mike Bell pushing the limits of normality there. And you'll see as he starts coming into one here, you'll see him get a big old squirm on, just trying to get the car stopped. You can see the power difference. There you go. There's the start of the squirm. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. And then he buries it into one, and even then he's got in probably a little bit deeper than he wants to, as the two cars behind the 50 machine are battling it out, and somebody else is up the side of the circuit there currently. So a lot of off tracks down at turn one at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting to me to watch just how hard he's driving this car. I would honestly say that Bell is probably over driving just a bit, and there's the example into the grass trying to get back on. I mean, he is absolutely pushing this car forward. The Shelby Daytona, it's cooperating with him, don't get me wrong, but look at, like, even when he gets on the brakes there going into, as we know it, the modern kink, or here into the horseshoe, I mean, the car is moving like 15 degrees forward because this car just does not want to do what he wants it to do. He's having to make it do what he wants. I mean, he's really having to work for it. So it's very, very challenging. And there's a reason I'm in the commentary booth and not behind one of these cars. I wouldn't have made it around the first lap.
It's very interesting. In the Div 3 AMs, Jerry Chen is out in front with Barry DiMarzio. DiMarzio has just been held up by the, I'm going to say slower cars, but let's be realistic about it. And he lost literally about 2.5 seconds over Jerry Chen, Barry DiMarzio there. So unfortunately for DiMarzio, he did lose a lot of time trying to get in. He caught them, unfortunately, in a very horrible place as well. That was on the inside of the infield section here, Brad. So they did get held up here. So unfortunately for Barry DiMarzio, he's going to have to try and go again to go to Jerry Chen, but he's just been held up again. That's 4.5 seconds here currently at the moment. So yeah, still some action taking place. Everything's still going on. Big squirming down into turn one. Turn one's the focus point at the moment, Brad, where most of the issues are having. As you can see, Pope on your screen currently with Junt and Andrews.
Yeah, you can see Andrews there into the horseshoe. I mean, still had a little bit of an issue. And that's the thing about this historic Daytona compared to modern. When you think about when you think about modern Daytona and the road course at Daytona, there's a lot of kinks, there's a lot of moves, there's a bus stop in the back straight. Even going out of the pits, there's a little, chicane coming out of turn one, going down towards the International Horseshoe. Historic Daytona has none of that. You're either all gas or all brakes. There's no, swerves, there's nothing crazy. And that's because these cars don't handle that. And that is what makes turn one such a focus point, such a challenge point, honestly. And again, it's amazing to see that these cars are holding on. We saw the one Ferrari go off earlier. He's probably very thankful that those signs, he could just squeeze through with no issues. But, because otherwise, I think his Ferrari would look more like a Lotus with the top right underneath. But even watching this battle of Pope and Andrews, I mean, it's amazing to me just how much speed and how all gas or all brake these cars are.
Yeah, you've got Andrews and Pope here. Pope in the Alpine livery there as well, looking rather gorgeous. I do love that livery. Pope, then you've got Andrews in the Porsche 904. You've got the faster cars coming past us currently. We've just had Ross Smith has gone shooting off into the distance. We're coming into turn one now with Andrews in the 904 GTS as we pull away there and go and see Ramos. I can tell you Andrews did not make it past Pope, but I can also tell you Pope did manage to struggle to keep it on track. So there the guys getting around turn one there as well. Ethan Funk and Ramos battling it out on your screen. There seems to be at the moment, Brad, cars literally everywhere. If we didn't recognize where the cars are or what the cars are, we wouldn't have a clue what we were looking at. But at the moment, Dahlgren and Smith is also battling it out on our screens currently, and they're going hammer to tongue at it as well.
Yeah, Smith is just getting pushed by Dahlgren here. I mean, it's literally anywhere you want to look, there's something going on. There's a storyline anywhere you want to go, but it is genuinely, if I didn't have the overlay here, and if I didn't have the timing screens, if I didn't have the things pulled up, I'd have no clue what's going on. Picture in picture here, as you can see this battle going through, and there we go, Dahlgren up into P3 overall, going up the inside.
Yeah, I would expect Smith to be there or thereabouts though. We've had a request in YouTube. Can we have a look and see what the 808 looks like so we can keep an eye out for it? That's Oliver Day in the Porsche 904 GTS. I can tell you now, it is black with yellow racing stripes straight down the middle, the 808 from Oliver Day with a load of sponsors logos on the side there. Dahlgren now under attack from Smith as they're battling it out for third place here. And a great move going on. Dahlgren holds the spot here. Smith is in front. Dahlgren's trying to close him down there as well. Ross, I can imagine currently in this car here, Brad, he's probably got a proper twitchy right foot. It's going absolutely mental. The nerves are shaking. His vomit on his sweater already, and it's mum's spaghetti. So there we go for Ross Smith, and you can see the 808 in the bottom right-hand corner here as well. And Smith goes in deep into one. Dahlgren just cannot get through currently at the moment.
I mean, we talk about it, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass, right? I talk about that every broadcast I ever do. I always talk about that difference between catching and passing. These guys are making me just look like I don't know what I'm talking about, because as soon as they're catching someone, they're passing them, and then they just flip it right back around and do it again here. And it's so much action. There's so many overtakes. There's so many different things going on. It's so hard to keep up. I keep saying it, James, but it truly is. And the thing is, you've got all of these battles going for all these different places. Remember, this is a 2-hour race. We are 30 minutes into 2 hours, and these guys are acting like it's the last lap, lap after lap after lap. Part of it is the nature of the cars, and part of it is just these drivers are absolutely sending it. So if this is how the first 30 minutes have gone down, the next 90 are going to be just as exciting.
Barry DiMaggio on the right-hand side, I will say, has pulled that gap back up to Jerry Chen. He's now six tenths currently here. So DiMaggio is close right up on Chen, as it is just absolute chaos in front of these guys here. Dahlgren and Smith will still fighting it out. We can see the slower cars, they are on front of our screen here, and you can see them trying to get through. They did manage to make it through on the banking into, I believe that's NASCAR 3, as these guys are jetting off once more on their run down into turn 1. Current top speed, I can tell you now, for Magnus Dahlgren, topping out at 177, 78, 79, 80. Is he going to break the 180 mark? 181 just from Magnus Dahlgren, as Ross Smith is trying to go 180 on the outside there as well. Dahlgren, big sliding, getting that car in as well. And they're battling all over the place, Brad. Where do we point the camera? What do we talk about? It's Daniel Kirby, it's Herlock on the right-hand side, battling the wing, and Bussing as well. How is anybody going to keep up with this if this is what we're going to get for the whole entire season?
I can tell you right now that our wonderful, wonderful man behind the cameras, Mr. Glover, is going to need a nap after this, because this is some work, and even for me, this is work just to keep up who's where, what's going on. But that is what we do. We bring the action in, we keep things going, and we keep some action. This battle for Division 1 and 2 overall, though, is, I mean, I'm enjoying that battle. As much as we're watching Division 3, that 1 and 2 overall, between that Lotus 23, the Alfa Romeos, and the Porsches, it's a good battle. The battle for P2 is just on and on and on. It won't stop.
Yeah, it won't stop at all. And it's good to see Daniel Kirby in a battle here. We so often saw him last season run away with it. He was in the Panos until the Panos had a problem 3/4 of the way into the series, and then I believe he swapped into the Nissan R390 if I'm not mistaken, and he still ran away with it. But to see Dan Kirby in this fight with Herlock currently is an absolute eye-opener. It's going to be great to see how he gets on here, as Jerry Chen, Barry DiMaggio still battling it out for the Div 3 AM lead currently here. So a lot of action taking place. Hour and 30 minutes on the clock. Let us know who you're rooting for. Let us know everything is fine and you're loving the racing as much as we are up here in the booth. We're not quite sure where to point the cameras. We're trying to bring you as much as possible, but I can tell you one thing: there's action, and we still, believe it or not, at this current moment in time, we've still got 47 cars out on track here.
Yeah, it's the fact there's 47 cars on track. Look at the 3 wide down the tri-oval going into turn 1. Hard on the brakes here. Who comes out ahead? Who's stopping here? How did everyone get through? How did everyone get it through and around? Oh my gosh, these guys are scaring me.
I don't know, Bussing there managing to get that car stopped. I don't know how, but Kirby now coming in battling away with him as they go up into turn 4. This is on the replay of where Bussing went. He went up, he went high, he then come in 3 wide, and then he just goes in like an absolute rocket. I can tell you, looking at live pictures, they were almost 3 wide going round into the kink of turn 4. But Bussing managed to get it stopped. We didn't think he was going to, but he managed to here. And these guys are going at it here. You can guarantee the engineers in the back of these cars, and they're throwing the spare tyre that they were all having to carry. They're chucking everything out the windows at each other here, and they are scrapping. Bussing, Hurlock and Kirby going for it currently for the Div 1 and 2 Pro Championship. This is racing. This is the best kind of racing, and you'll only ever watch it here from the VWSC in R Factor 2 currently at the moment. So great action appearing on here once again. I think George Angelidis is sitting down in 14th overall. He's looking like he might be joining into a nice little tiny battle. I believe that's with Jerry Chen for George Angelidis. It is currently him and Damaso, obviously on the same teams currently as well. And then we've got Dahlgren and Smith back up on your screen again. We're jumping up and down, we're flickering around and round, and we're still catching all the action. Some great work in the background, of course, by our beloved olden generation man of JPB, who's going to need a blanket, his pipe and his slippers after this one, and a nice little lay down with grapes here as well. So great action from Paul Glover in the background. 1 hour 27 minutes on the clock, Brad, and well, I feel tired already.
Yeah, I am regretting not having that mid-morning nap as we sit here and watch through. We're coming through turn 1.
You need to learn from Paul, mate. Paul will tell you when's a good time to get a nap in. You know what I mean? He has a nice little afternoon while he does.
Yeah, big thing is that just got to remember to set your alarm, James. You got to remember to set the alarm.
Ouch! Don't dig at me. I've done that before as well, where I've woke up in a shit panic and realising that I've slept through a broadcast. So there we go. Ever the professional. But that was purely just because I was so absolutely shattered. But yeah, you've got to remember to set your alarm, and it's going to be interesting. We've got Bussing, Hurlock and Kirby on the screen currently, still battling away, still fighting it out, still scrapping each other. And I've got to be honest, guys, this is absolutely incredible. Becky Eady currently 5th in Div 1 and Div 2, 12 seconds back from Kirby here, who is, well, there's just cars everywhere, Brad.
Yeah, there's cars everywhere. And question in YouTube chat from Nathaniel McPhee, will there be pits in this race? Yes. We are expecting pit stops.
Do we know roughly how many? It could be 2, it could be 3. I think that's the thing currently. We'll see how it gets on and whether or not they're going to be able to take it as far as they want to. Refueling some of these cars could be a little bit tough for some of them. I think it's going to be basically the differences of them on their pit fuel time, Brad. I think that's going to be the thing. Tyres, they have only got street tyres, right? And that's no different to what, you know, we drive currently on our cars at the end of the day. And I think it'd be interesting to see how long they will last for, Brad.
Yeah, well, and you talk about that it's the same, you know, tires we put on our cars. If you think about, okay, that scared me a little bit. Back to my train of thought. You know, if you think about, you know, the tires on your car, imagine taking the tires on your car.
Brad, 2 seconds, you've got
Yeah.
Kirby. He's looking at making a move over Bussing there on the outside. It's Hurlock. They're doubling up. They're 2 wide. Breaker heavy going into turn 1. They're still saving it as they are here. Very retro livery based currently here. And I think that's a great sight to match the liveries up with the era. We do know there are some that don't, but I'm sure that will be corrected currently as well. And now we've got Timon Suvic joined in with Dahlgren and Smith here. So Timon Suvic just getting into the back end in that Ferrari 250 GTO. So we've got a Ferrari, and then we've got Daytona at the hands of Ross Smith.
Still got a battle for 7th here too, with Hildebrand and Kristen that are just absolutely lining it up. Now you have Mike Bell and Funk here as well that are battling. This is the battle for 9th. I mean, pick a number, any number, and there's a battle for that position right now. Just about. Here's Chen and DiMarzo in the battle for P2. I mean,
yeah. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Currently, you can literally pluck a car out the air and they're fighting or they're next to somebody on the screen, and that is the thing. They are next to somebody, they're fighting someone, they're battling someone. There is action all over this racetrack. Dahlgren being closed in by Subic. JT Tammy in the Civic C2. He's got Nicholas Hildebrand trying to get onto the back of him with Nicholas Kirstens there. It is just full bore action, action, action currently at the moment. It is all the way through, and Brad, if this is it for the hour and 23, I'm going to need to go and get some lozenges by the end of this.
yeah, I mean, it's just not stopping. Nobody is giving up, and the thing is, every time we think a battle settled, it opens back up. Because watch this right here. This is going to be Kirby trying to go around the outside of Busick here. Can he make this stick is the question. Outside, squiggle on the brakes, squiggle on the brakes, goes in. Can't make it stick, has to settle back in here. And that is, again, the battle for second in Division 1 and 2. And, I mean, so close. Here's the thing, though. Tell these guys that they're 7 seconds behind the leader and see if they'll work together a little bit. And I'm going to tell you they're not. These guys are absolutely gloves off this entire race.
It is literally like a heavyweight fight. It is a Daytona Ferrari fight for the front. Then you've got Borman, Busick, Kirby and Herlock. They're scrapping it out here. And Kirby in the Alfa Romeo Giulia, Busick in the Porsche 904. It's like the real times. It's Ferrari, it's the Porsche. Oh, Busick's up onto the grass. Oh, it's here currently on Busick. Elko Busick is just unfortunately dropped out of that battle here as well. On your screen currently at the moment as they're off around the kink, of course, to turn 4. As they're heading into turn 5, he's going to try and go on the outside. Shouldn't not being able to manage to get past there, Brad, but it's absolutely incredible. We think, and we're saying this in a big think, that Ben Borman may have just DNF'd here as we watch him drop down the time in tower from 25th. Kirby is currently taking the lead of the Div 1 and Div 2s here, Brad, but that'd be a shame for Borman if he's lost it early.
Yeah, because if Ben Borman is out, I mean, Ben Borman had a very, very set lead. So now we go to the battle for 1 and 2. Oh my gosh. Now the battle for 1 and 2, the top 3 are separated by 2 seconds because we just lost the Division 1 and 2 leaders. So now, just go ahead and heat things up a little bit more, why don't we? Just add a little bit more spice and tell those guys, get in the radio and say, hey guys, you're now battling for the overall class win here in 1 and 2. And Kirby's around Herlock there. On your screen is going to be Smith, Dahlgren, and Subic that are battling out. This is the battle for 3rd in Division 3. I mean, there's action everywhere.
Yeah, Dahlgren and Smith on your screen fighting it out, and they're battling away there. If you are loving this, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the bells on the CMS and the JPB YouTube channel, depending on which channel you are watching it on. And thank you so much for joining us. We've got a brief rundown of the current standings on your screen here, and you can see it is just action, action, action. It's been action, action, action. Paul is in the background sweating here, and me and Brad are trying to keep up with everything that Paul keeps going to. And currently, well, it is still the Dahlgren-Smith battle dominating proceedings. However, Herlock and Kirby are not very far apart. Angelidis and Chen are not very far apart either. And the only series that seems to have a little bit of a break in it is the Div 1 and Div 2 AMS, with Mika Tyron in first and Day in second, 15 seconds back. So that's really the only series that's got a little bit of a break. Obviously, Pride Sellers in the Div 3, but then Smith, Dahlgren going at it behind, and now Subic coming into the picture over. And we got Jerry Chen, who's all over George Angelidis. So Jerry Chen going to be putting his nose up there as well. So Yeah, some action, Brad, and it's just non-stop. What are they thinking? They've got an hour now. They've got an hour and 19 to go here. What are they thinking overall? Are they going to be like, right, now's the time to play the fuel structure car. Now's the time to sit back and chill out as we're going to a replay. I believe this might be Miguel Ramos going up. Trechev there going through, missing the barriers as he goes off there. And then Jerry Chen and George Angelidis currently on your screen. Oh, that was a weird one. As we'll keep an eye on to see what happens to George. He scrapes the wall, he comes off the wall in that Ferrari and unfortunately goes into the other barrier there as well for George Angelidis. So not an ideal scenario for him, but it is what it is for George. He's going to have to try and battle his way back through currently at the moment. So back up with a Smith Dahlgren battle. You can see Suvic just in the background with the purple stripes here as these guys are continually battling it out once more. So fights, some more fights, Brad. Keeping poor old Paul on his toes.
Yeah, and here's the thing that's really piqued my interest at this point is we're an hour 18 left to go. We're about to hit that 45-minute in mark. Pit stops are going to start becoming a thing that we're going to have to look for. We're starting to see a few drivers DNF. At some point, these guys need to pit, and they need to settle in. We're going to start seeing tire wear become a big issue. We tried to hit on this point about 10 minutes ago, and then, action happened, as it always does here in the VWSC. So think about your tires on your car. If you're sitting at home, think about the tires that are on your car sitting in your driveway. Now picture putting those on a race car. Now picture that race car doing 180 miles an hour down the main straight at Daytona and then hard braking into turn. Crazy,
Easy.
right? Yeah,
Easy. Easily done. And they've got to get it stopped, as we can see Kirby and Horlock going at it. It's just been overtaken by George Angelidis there, and Kirby and Horlock battling it out once more. This is for the lead at Div 1 and Div 2s, of course. Horlock in the Alfa Romeo Giulia, and Kirby also, I believe, in the Alfa Romeo Giulia. They are two together. Kirby's just going to go out the inside. He has just taken that lead down into turn one, and Horlock not giving up whatsoever here, Brad. And he's still fighting for that Div 1 and Div 2 lead here.
Yeah, and we're watching here. This is going to be Rise Gardner, who is battling out, trying to move forward and get past Reese here. Just doing, the big passing zone seems to be the tri-oval. It truly does. It seems to be the tri-oval is where these guys are getting their passes done, which doesn't surprise me for some reason.
No, I think it's the run, isn't it? It's the speed. It's the carry. It's everything. The draft. Don't get me wrong, they're not Formula One cars. They're not aerodynamic, but they're enough to make a difference. And I think that's the thing. You've got to be aware that there is enough to make a difference for these guys to go and slipstream each other down through the tri-oval, Brad. You've got to make a do with the best situation you've got. And they're definitely making it there as well. On the right-hand side, Horlock and Kirby battling it out once more for the lead. But I think the draft is playing a massive part in that.
Yeah, and I'm sure the drivers are well aware of the draft. I'm sure they're thinking about it. I'm sure it's going into everything that they're doing here, like Horlock and Kirby here battling it through. Of course, Bussing has dropped 5 seconds back now, and what that means for Bussing is that he is not in that battle anymore and not in that draft. So you're going to watch Horlock here coming out of NASCAR 2, drafting Kirby. You see Kirby kind of moving around a little bit there on the backstretch, trying to break that toe, but then as soon as Horlock goes out into the clean air to the right-hand side where he doesn't have that draft, he loses a bit of a run there and it slows down, and then that Kirby slots in and stays right behind through NASCAR 3 and 4, and I think that's why we're seeing so many passes, and I think that's also part of why they put the bus stop in the backstretch.
Yeah, he's got very, very close. Kirby's going to look at diving up the inside once more. He's going to take that position away from Horlock. They are going to be swapping all the way back through So some great action currently with Dan Kirby and Herlock. That is, I believe, a back marker in front of them. I think that is the 424 machine there in front of her, which is Stephen Miller. I shouldn't remember that from Miller's livery last season, to be honest, because he had exactly the same colour scheme here. Newman in 6th place, battling away once more. So even more fights going on in Div 1 and Div 2 Championship, with Kirby and Herlock scrapping it out at the front.
Yeah, I mean, it's action anywhere you want to look here with Newman and Judd here battling through side by side around out of turn 1, going down into the horseshoe. I mean, are they going to make it 3 wide into the horseshoe? Oh, Andrews backs out of it and decides not to. And I believe we have another driver that is DNF'd with just hour 13 to go here. So we're starting to see some people drop off as we go. We're getting near the halfway point. A little bit of a tap between 55. And now Andrews is going to try to go through. Newman having to drop back a little bit. So action anywhere you want to look. The battle for Division 1 and 2 is still separated by just 0.2 of a second here, though.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder whether or not some of these DNFs are based off just the disconnection issues, because Ben Borman is back out on the circuit, albeit down in 46th place in that Lotus. But he is back out on the circuit, so Ben Borman's still running, and I'm wondering whether or not we're going to see some of the others that we think have been DNF that are going to be looking at coming back here. I'm wondering if that's one of the problems, is we've got a replay on your screen. This is Suvic over Dahlgren, I believe. Suvic's got in far too hot. He's gone off to the promised land, and unfortunately for Timon Suvic, he's trying to turn that Ferrari into a little bit of a low motor there.
Yeah, Suvic, I mean, I don't think these 1964 cars are good lawnmowers. I don't think modern race cars are good lawnmowers, but the good news is these cars probably are better to get out of the grass than modern cars. Modern cars can get beached on anything. These guys, I think, can get in and out of the grass. Not a lot of issue here. Daniel Herlock is trying to push Kirby into going into the grass because Daniel Herlock is just right there on the back of Kirby. Any time you blink, and these guys are flip-flopping positions. You could close your eyes for 5 seconds, open it up, they'll flip back. Here is David Junt again going through. This is with the battle for Andrews going up. The battle for P4 again going down into turn 1. Just not able to make it stick, but he's trying.
There he is at the moment. Oh, there was a spinner in the background.
That was Newman
as well. Yeah, Newman, and I believe it's Newman in the 62, unfortunately going off there, but Shunt and Andrew still battling away. They're currently in front of him. So some great action taking place. This is, I believe, the replay of what happened as he just goes in too hot, Brad, and back out. The wheel hits the grass, and then hey ho, he comes round again. Again, turn 1 providing all the action.
I feel like I need to cut turn 1 a paycheck after this, because turn 1 is really, really giving me some good news. It is really, really making this race. So, and again, we talked about it, just these are street tires, there's no analog brake system, there's no traction control. It is all on the driver to nail turn 1. And throughout a 2-hour race, if you have one little lapse in judgment, one little moment, you know, you're driving down the tri-oval and you reach up to scratch your nose or something, and then you forget to hit your braking point, or you're not looking because, you know, the dog barking in the background, whatever it may be, it's going to completely throw you off. So that is the challenge of this 2-hour race. It's as much about the endurance of getting through the race as it is about being the fastest lap after lap.
Don't forget, these cars aren't ABS efficient. You know, there's none of that, is there? They're fighting and wrestling all the time. There is no perks to the car. There's no perks that they can rely on. It is just flat out racing. And this is the thing, isn't it, with these? There was none of that back in that day. So it's something that they've got to try and get used to. And it's always going to be difficult when you've got a car that handles like that. So you can see the Herlock and Kirby battle again. Herlock taking the lead. I'm sure that will swap round as well.
Yeah, that battle's gonna just keep going on and on. Here we have a replay, and this is gonna be again in that kink there, going into the west towards kink. That is Dankor there, number 41, just going off. I mean, you can see these cars are so unforgiving, and as Paul is pointing out in my ear, it is not turn 1. But these cars are unforgiving anywhere. You make one little mistake, regardless of where you're at on the track. And we focus a lot on turn 1, and as Paul's pointing out, more than turn 1 is challenging to these cars. The entire race is challenging.
Yeah, it definitely is. The cars cutting, dancing into the turn 1, of course. They do end up dancing a little bit, going left and right to try as they come down through the gears, come through the speed. Herlock running very close to the wall on the exit there, coming out of turn 7, up onto NASCAR, was at 1 and 2 before he goes down into the modern day 3 and 4, running it once again with Daniel Kirby tucked up right behind him. They're still fighting it out, these two. They've been non-stop here currently and still are going to be non-stop all the way through the race. They are not far apart whatsoever. Herlock and Kirby battling it out. Kirby's starting to lose a little bit of the draft here, Brad. Could be dangerous if he loses it all.
Yeah, I know we talked about, the draft plays a part. Maybe it's not as strong as it is in modern day, but if you lose the draft, it truly can separate things out. Like, look at the Division 3 and look at the times and the gaps between all of the cars there. I mean, you've got huge gaps through. Look at Daniel Herlock here, getting passed around the inside by Kirby. That's not something we normally see. Usually it's people try around the outside to one, but the inside through the tri-oval going into one, and hard the brakes. Kirby gets very, very swirly through, and he has to try to not lose himself in the moment and get around turn 1.
Can you explain a bit about the differences between the divisions? We certainly can. Div 1 and Div 2 are basically the Porsche 904, the Alfa Romeo Giulia, the Alpine A110, and the Lotus B23 Ford. In Div 3, which is the fastest division, which is the C2 Stingray, the Shelby Daytona, and the Ferrari. It is all about pace between the divisions. Of course, the Porsche 904 was an absolute wrecking ball back then. The Alfa Giulia was trying to battle away with it and trying to keep up with it as here. And that's really one of the main differences for it. It wouldn't be surprising if we didn't see one of the Div 1 and 2s win this season, because of the way it has been. Obviously, there's been BOP applied to them, so they've done a lot of work with the BOPs here to try and get these cars that would normally be as technically together, separate on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I really, really love the balance. And as I'm watching the outsider looking in, the balance looks very spot on for these cars. I don't see any cars that are truly outperforming another or look completely overpowered, overbalanced, overweight. There's nothing with these cars that is screaming to me that adjustments need to be made. And it just goes to show how well Storm Gang Simulation has done in the past year of crafting this mod and getting it balanced. But you heard Ross say that they are going to continue to work on it. They're going to continue to balance throughout the season. They'll take feedback from drivers. But just outside perspective, these cars are very, very well matched. And even then, the Division 1 and 2 seems to be doing a lot better on the infield than Division 3, but Division 3 is just carrying so much speed. And speaking of Division 3, our leader is into the pits.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Bradley Sellers is into the pit lane there. Herlock and Kirby swap positions again coming into turn 1. I got a funny feeling this may be the theme of the evening. They will be racing backwards and forwards there as well. Don't forget the Alfa Romeo Giulia with his 6,000 RPM. So it's balanced categories on car models. Got it, says Nathaniel. Yes, it is. So as Herlock hits the grass, unfortunately, there gets a little bit squirrely, loses a little bit of time to Herlock. He's also coming around that corner sideways as they go down into turn 7. There's Bradley Sellers in the bottom right corner in the pit lane. So unfortunately for Herlock, he has lost a bit of time there. Ross is into the pits again. Herlock really sliding that car around currently. Peter Meyer looks like he's also DNF'd out of the race here as well. So unfortunately for Peter Meyer, he does join a list of what I've got currently 5, possibly 6 cars out here. So we've got 2 disqualifications. Kirsten and Dancourt DQ'd. DNF for Robert Strutt and Miguel Rodriguez and Tapia Chev, and also the other DNF is Peter Meyer. So that's what I've got. Bradley Sellers is out and he's moving once more. He's done a great job. He's in and out the pits. He's all the way, unfortunately though, for Bradley Sellers, coming out the pits in ninth place, but everybody else has got a pit in front of him on that hour and 4 mark. Technically, for me, an hour and 4 is 55 minutes in the race. Brad, it's looking like Bradley Sellers might have to do a splash and dash.
Yeah, I think Sellers, though, has a good enough gap that he can just feel safe here and there and be okay. In an hour and 4 minutes, a lot of things can happen. So splash and dash is an option. Feel safe for the next hour. It's all a possibility. And at the end of the day, the thing is he pitted in with such a good lead. I believe it was about 25 seconds that he had. So there was plenty of time there for him, and he can just kind of relax and take his way through. And now you're starting to see the challenge of turn 1 there as we see the number 96 coming out of the pits. And that is going to be Zakic, who is coming out. You see the battle coming through here for the leaders of the Division 3 and the overall leaders. And then you have drivers coming out of the pits because the exit here of Historic just shoots out straight into the middle of turn 1.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? When we were talking about the changes, obviously the differences between the modern circuit today, one of them is the pit exits and entrances. It's a different kind of animal compared to what it was back then. And I think that's one of the challenges they've got to contend with, as you see Herlock and Kirby and Dahlgren and Suvik on the left-hand side. They're battling it out still as they're coming near a back marker. Looks like Dahlgren has escaped Suvik by 2.5 seconds. That's probably due to traffic on the racetrack as they go past that 111 machine. But be aware that they will probably end up coming back together after the pit stop cycles here. So we'll see a lot of battles materializing as this one goes on. Kirby and Horlock still not leaving each other alone. They're still literally tight up behind each other. They're now trying to swap places again. Here with Herlock taking the lead, Kirby slots in behind him. I don't think it's going to be long before Kirby gets him once more, but that theme is kind of continuing, Brad. You take it, I take it, you take it, I'll take it.
Yeah, this battle is going to go all the way down to the end between Herlock and Kirby. And it's just going to be back and forth until something happens. Either a back marker gets in the mix or a pit stop happens. And we're at the hour mark, so pit stops are coming up, and they need to be spot on when they finally do. And I think the question for Herlock and Kirby is who blinks first? Who pits first? Who is the one that decides to go into the pits and just let it go and say, you know what, I'm going to give up on this for a bit. I'm going to go into the pits. We'll see how things go.
But it's going to be, for me, it will be whether or not, say if Kirby goes in first, is Herlock going to go and cover him off? Or will he have enough fuel? Because they have been swapping positions, so fuel saving would be a bare minimum. To be honest with you, you can see Becky Ely on your screen on the left-hand side with the Kirby-Herlock battle on your right. They are just coming past one of the back markers there. That's the 63 machine here as well. Just made it through. Becky Ely running side by side. She's trying to have a scrap at the moment currently with Becky Ely. Let's see if she's able to maintain it. That is Alexandra Nekoros in front of us. Again, apologies if I've pronounced your name wrong there. And Ely trying to, every time she comes out though, Brad, she hits this wall of air and doesn't seem to be able to do it. She's sending it up the inside. Is she going to be able to get it stopped, Becky Ely? She does get it stopped and takes that position in ninth place in that Div 1, Div 2 and takes it away and goes into ninth. So a great run from Becky Ely there as well.
Yeah, Becky Ely doing a very, very good job there, showing great car control and getting that move forward done in the Lotus. In a Lotus that is showing to be a very comfortable car to run here for Becky Ely. And just keep moving it forward. And again, the patience and persistence is paying off there.
Yeah, I think there's nothing else they can do, is there? You've got to be patient. you've got to make sure that you can still do it lap after lap after lap. And Kirby and Horlock have been doing it lap after lap after lap. And Horlock got through. Now Kirby's going to get through, as I believe that's Timon Suvic, I think, on the top. Just go past them there. Kirby now takes the lead. Here, it's just unbelievable the amount of action we got. Suvic off. Oh, Timon Suvic just retook the leads of the Div 1 and Div 2, and then unfortunately goes off the side of the circuit. Hildebrand's into the pits. Now we're going to see Sellers start moving his way back through, probably the overall. Kirby's off! Oh,
No!
he's off the side of the circuit! No! Horlock's followed him! Horlock followed him off the side of the circuit! They both lost it! Going into turn 5. They both followed each other off the side of the circuit. Kirby went and punched the tyre barriers. Horlock followed him off as well. It was more of a sympathy follow than anything else. And they have both gone off. Kirby and Horlock's side into the tyres. Absolutely rogered the tyres there for Dan Kirby. He's still up and running. He's still going. It just goes to show that that car can definitely take a hit in that Alfa Romeo Junior.
Oh my gosh, how's that Alfa Romeo driving in a straight line? I don't know how you take a hit like that and keep going. And Herlock there, just with the hyperfixation on Kirby, just was so focused on Kirby's car and following Kirby around, just completely forgot the quarter was there. And said, you know what, friend, I want to keep this battle going for another 57 minutes. So you go off, I go off. No, you first, I'll follow.
Yeah, Kirby went off there and Horlock's followed it. Horlock just got through. Kirby settling back in behind us. Kirby got to go into the pits. That's going to be the question after that very heavy hit for Dan Kirby. His steering looks all A-OK, mind you. So, but maybe for Dan, oh no, it's not. It's not, I don't think. I think it's a little bit squirrely under acceleration, but he's still going with Herlock again. They're still battling it out. That Alfa Romeo Giulia took a big hit into the tyres, and he's still going. The pit crew are going to have to duct tape that thing back together. Like I was watching in the truck series last night at Daytona, there was duct tape aplenty on some of them trucks, but this is just unbelievable. How is he going in a straight line, Brad? And how is he still overtaking Herlock?
A lot of luck and a little bit of skill. I don't know. I'm not saying that he doesn't have skill. I'm just saying there's luck involved somewhere. There's something somewhere. That was wow. I mean, yeah. I don't know, man.
We got Brad from the quality commentary there. Something somewhere somehow has allowed Kirby to keep going. The gods are on Kirby's side here as everybody is in stitches in the booth. I got Glover in my ear. I'm laughing his absolute head off there at poor old Brad's expense, but all of Kirby still. Oh dear me.
It's okay, James.
Apologies for being here with Paul, mate. This is what you get. You get a little voice in your head laughing at you.
I mean, I knew I had to work with Paul eventually, and I was real excited to work with Paul. I just didn't realize that I would be hearing 4 trains of thought at once as we go through 2 hours of racing.
Well, welcome to the world of having a producer in your ear, mate. It don't get any easier when you do real life, I can tell you that much. And it don't get any easier in sim when you've got a production producer in your ear talking to you. Yeah, and yeah. It's literally like trying to not answer the man when you can hear some of his comments because you know everybody else can't hear him. Herlock's now gone through. I think Kirby's going to come back at him once again, as you can see Suvic on your screen at the moment here. I don't even know what's going on. Do you know what? I'm a bit lost. I've got Dahlgren out in front of the Div 3s with JT Tammy in the C2. We got Herlock just being passed by Kirby once more. Kirby's taking a hit in the tyre barrier. Herlock decided it would be a good idea to go and follow him off. So they went off together with tunnel vision from Herlock looking at Kirby when he could have been absolutely dominating by now, taking that position as long as he didn't follow Kirby. Unfortunately, he did. We got Jerry Chen leading the Div 3 AMs with Damaso, Angelinas and Maya behind that. We got Kirby Herlock, who we can see. We've been focusing on these guys quite a lot. Mika Tyron in first in the Div 1 and 2 AMs with Day, Cabrera, Monet, Castro, your top 5 in that class. So hopefully these guys will start coming back together. We'll start seeing a little bit more battling throughout the field rather than just Daniel Kirby and Herlock swapping positions backwards and forwards. But this is the closest battle on the track at the moment. There really isn't much else happening as these guys have been in for their pits, bro.
Yeah, pit stop cycling through, and it's mixing things up a little bit, and it's bringing some people back and forth. But overall, I mean, this Division 1-2 battle is truly the star of the show. The Division 3 battles have been good. We've seen some great racing there from them, but this battle for the lead in Division 1 and 2 that for the longest time was just for P2. And then we saw the leader there in Division 2 drop out, and DNF came back. Ben Borman, I'm curious to know what happened to Ben Borman, but nevertheless, it opened up the door for Kirby and Herlock to give probably some of the best battling in sim that I've seen in a very, very long time in sim racing.
Yeah, he is 2 laps back, I believe. So I'm going to say for Ben Borman it was a disconnect and he's come back in. But he's currently 2 laps down. As we know, anything can absolutely happen. Again, as you can see, Magnus Dahlgren, the leader overall in the Div 3s. He is leading with JT Tammy in this Corvette C2. 12 seconds back from that. Then we've got Ross Smith. He is fighting out in 3rd with Jerry Chen trying to get away from Bradley Sellers for 5th. And at the moment, Bradley's got a 21 second gap over Hildebrand. So yeah, some great action still happening. The lights are declining. It is getting dark here at Daytona. This is where you're going to see the full beams coming on these little machines from this 64. Let's see what happens. Sellers comes past the back.
This is another moment of having a production in your ear, but as we see here, quick replay in the horseshoe, catching John Mayer off guard. He's definitely slow dancing in a horseshoe here, and not a burning room, but brings it around, keeps it going here. Another replay. This is turn 1. Luke Goodlife on the brakes, not hard enough on the brakes, and takes that very, very nice livery 127 around in a little bit of grass there. And as we go back to good pictures, again, Luke Goodlife there in the Porsche 904 with a very, very nice throwback livery, very era appropriate, and is going to just keep things going as much as we can.
So there we go, fighting still going on here, and Bussink is managing to close the gap once more. We've got John Mayer in through the pits here. We've got Kirby and Herlock and Bussink in the Div 1 and 2s. We just had Bradley Sellers go off to the side of the circuit in turn 1, but he was okay. He overtook some back markers, he overcooked it into 1, and unfortunately for Bradley Sellers, he went off the side of the circuit there, but managed to regain and be in front of the back markers. He overtook Timon Suvic. It'd be interesting to see what happened to him. JT Tammy has also been a deaf culprit of turn 1. That's C2, just spinning round, doing a nice little pirouette for JT Tammy as well. So JT Tammy has gone off the side of the circuit once more in that silver machine. Now we're seeing headlights aplenty here, Brad. Once again, as JT Tammy is off, and he just slides off like Bambi on ice. He goes round, does a beautiful little pirouette, and then carries on for JT Tammy. So yeah, this is interesting. Kirby's in the pits. Kirby is in the pits. Horlock did not go in with him. There, as you can see, somebody else in that 243 Jeep, and that is Alexander Nekosakov in off the side of the circuit here. But Kirby is in the pits. He's now on his way back out again. So Dan Kirby coming back out. He's in 4th on his exit out of the pit lane, as the people coming in behind him have also come out as well. So Yeah, you can see there somebody missing completely their pit box there. That was the 67 machine, I believe that was, missing the pit box. But we're heading into nighttime. Let the chaos commence. Gentlemen, let's see how they get on here in the dark, Brad.
Yeah, this is going to be where the drivers who have practiced and put in their time are really, really going to shine. And they're not going to be shining because of stadium lights. They are going to be shining for their skill. They're going to be shining for everything they can put together. As Dahlgren is our overall leader right now, Magnus Dahlgren, in the Ferrari, unfortunately in a Ferrari leading. Corvette Stingray of JT Tammy is in P2. You'll be happy to know, James. But as we go through, it is it's truly going to start to become the challenge of how well do you know your circuit? How much did you practice? And what can you really do to shine at nighttime?
It's very interesting because you see the glow, and if we can pick up on Becky Ely, literally half of her car is glowing. It's great in the dark for Becky Ely. Horlock is coming around by the pits now. He is into the pits. He is hurtled into the pits at full tilt. I don't know if there was pit speed lane limiters, but Herlock has definitely not used it there. But there is no pit speed limiter in this era, and he's just gone absolutely roifing in once more here. So there we go. Dan Herlock into the pits again, and no pit lane speed limit. He can hurtle in as fast as he wants. Becky Ely's glow in the dark machine, glowing frantically here. So she can't be missed really, Brad, can she?
No, you're not going to miss that Lotus at all as it barrels through. I mean, it's very much, it's like Knight Rider. It's like the cars you see, you know, down the street that have the auto store bought glow LED lights that they buy and then just take the bottom of their cars and then hook up into some random wire that they find in their car and they go, this will look good.
Yeah. Normally the boy rays some of the LEDs around the bottom end of his car there. He's normally the one that I do chuckle at when I see it going down the street. But there we go, it is what it is, and for Becky Ely, that's what the car looks like. We've got Nekar Rushkov. I'm sure he's going to be murdering me after that one. I do apologise, dear sir. And Dan Kirby as well. Even Dan Kirby's red is a little bit glow in the dark here.
It just makes it easier on us to be able to spot them and see them. Of course, this 1964 version of Daytona, very, very minimal lighting, and so it really is just on being able to spot him. I mean, you can see Daniel Herlock as he goes around the West Horseshoe there. I can't see the numbers. I can't see anything on him until right about then, whenever another car's headlights hit him. So very hard to see. And again, historic VWSC. It reflects correctly to what the era would have been. It's truly all about using those headlights.
Yeah. Herlock's come out of the pits. Kirby is 5.5 seconds back. Bussing is into the pits. Bussing is into the pits there, and the 62 of Oliver Newman doesn't look an ideal running car, but he's still up and going and he's still running. So fair play to Newman for keeping it out on the race circuit. So a stellar job from him. Newman there in the Porsche 904 GTS currently. So Newman doing a great job keeping it on track. To be honest with you, Brad, I think when I sit back and I look at these guys and I sit and think, how are they doing it? How are they keeping it on track? And you kind of just think, it's amazing. Oliver Newman and Reese Gardner, Reese in the Alfa Romeo Giulia, Oliver Newman in the Porsche 904. And this is like the real life that they went through in 64. This is the Alfa and Porsche battle as it was then, you know, and I think it's just absolutely incredible that these guys are doing it and keeping it on track. Newman pulled out to go past the draft, literally did not go anywhere when he hit the wall. He slotted in again round there as well. We've got a yellow in sector 1. I think that's Ethan Funk that's been off the side of the circuit. Reese Gardner pulls out once more. Is he going to be able to make it down through here? He hits the wall of air. He's on the outside. It doesn't look like he's going to make it. He's trying to side draft him in now. He's got to slot in behind him. Go down! Go down! Down! Good point there for Oliver Newman as he needs to get him back again at it, Brad, for that run down into turn 1.
Yeah, he's coming out of 4 here. You can see he's still slotting up. I don't know why he's not just staying in the drive for a moment and then dive out into turn 1. Here he goes. Now he wants to look at the inside. Of course, no double yellow lines here. It's all just slotted. There's a... Oh, that's a Division 3 car around the outside. That's a double zero. And now here we are side by side into turn 1. Who holds on to it? It's going to be Oliver Newman around. Oh, my goodness. Oliver Newman keeps it together there.
Yeah, Newman there managing to hold on, but I can tell you what, Gardner was not letting up at all. You can see the headlights, you can see the amount of light given in this machine. It is absolutely unbelievable with 44 minutes still to go. 44 minutes still on the clock, and there's still so much more racing to have here. There's still so much more racing to fight it out. And I'm still expecting more and more and more. Let us know who you're voting for in YouTube chat as well if you are here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz you can do for YouTube for absolutely free, because that would be incredible here on the CMS and the JPB YouTube channel. So George Angelidis is back in P1 in Division 3. Chen's in the pits. That could be why DiMarzio is 24 seconds back. Zakic, Mayer, oh man, Mayer's in 5th and Meyer is out. So there we go.
Yeah, that's an easy one to mix up, but yeah, Mayer 5th, Meyer's out. You said there were a couple of people that were disqualified, and this battle still continues right here between the Alpha and the Porsche.
Yeah, the Alpha of Gardner just doesn't seem to look like when he pulls out, he just hasn't got the speed to carry it on. It's almost like he just hits the wall and he just doesn't go anywhere. You can see at this moment in time, he's pulled out again and he's literally just hitting the draft wall. He's not carrying anything, any form of draft past him. Once again, it's not like Kirby and Herlock. He's going to have to risk it for a biscuit down into turn 1. If you're going to do it, now would be the time. Here he comes. You've got to get him off the inside. Got to get him off the inside. You can't do every time you pull out. That little Alpha just has not got it. Oh, he's going to try to come back. Didn't make it through there in turn 1. And now Gardner's still sat behind it once more. Gardner currently sitting at 8,600 RPM. HP 191 horsepower. The Alfa Romeo Giulia 6,000 RPM and 161 horsepower. Shows the difference, Brad. That's why that Giulia has not got the overspeed to do it.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me that he's still not able to get that Alpha pass. As we've got a replay here. This is Becky Ely. This is the neon glow here of the Lotus.
Pulls off.
Pulls off. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but just pulls off there in through the kink, and I wonder what that's about. I have to wonder if that's not a failure. Somebody in the background spins off too there. I'm not sure who that was, but we'll have Becky Ely
out
here.
Yeah, I will go on the hunt and see and find out what that one is all about. So I will try and see what I can find out on that one. We've got Hurley and Busick back again. Yeah, Busick battling away, not giving up. He's still fighting out, and now he's side by side with Herlock currently, and the 47 and the 87. And Kirby is probably not going to be too far away either on this one, Brad. 7 seconds down the road.
Yeah, Kirby should catch up fairly quick and make this a good three-way battle for the Division 1-2 win, and that I'm excited to see because, again, Division 1 and 2 just giving us such good racing all the way up and down the field, regardless of what position you look. I mean, they are absolutely showing it, and we're here in the dead of night now in this race, and I mean, I just love it. I love everything about this.
Yeah, it is definitely some epic racing, and they're still epically fighting it out. On the right-hand side, you can see Gardner and Newman. On the left-hand side, it is Herlock and Busick. Now we've got Kirby coming back 7.3 seconds back there as well. We're going to give a big shout out to our production here with Mr. Paul Glover in the background blowing his own trumpet. So let's give Paul a big old shout out for doing this as well. Say thank you, Paul, in the YouTube chat if you can. That would be amazing as Busick and Herlock side by side in the Porsche 904. And that Alfa Romeo as Goldwyn goes straight through the middle like a hot knife through butter. And now Herlock cuts a cut back as well. There's the number 35 machine just gone round the out. Is it at 85? I think that was actually not 35 there, as these guys are still locking in together. Herlock and Busick. Busick goes through. Gardner's still not being able to get through here. Brad Evo, unfortunately for Gardner, he seems to pull out and hit a wall. Herlock pulls out and has a massive amount of overspeed. So maybe it's something within Gardner's gearing that's not allowing him to kick on.
Yeah, it's got to be a setup issue or something at this point, because it's paining me to watch how many times I've seen Gardner pull out and try to get the run on Newman. Has the run, and as soon as he looks to pull away, there's just absolutely nothing he can do. It's genuinely, like, physically painful for me to just watch it, because it's every time I'm just like, come on, get the pass done. It's killing me that he's not got that pass done. But Busick has gotten past Herlock here. Herlock is trying to stay with him there. Do we finally have the pass from Gardner on Newman?
No, probably not. I don't think he's got the pace. I don't think he's going to be able to. Yeah, Busick cleared Herlock down into turn 1, and then coming out of turn 2 he got very, very squirrely. Newman there has lost Gardner. Unfortunately for Gardner, he is a long way back currently, so Gardner's now lost a bunch of time over Newman and is fortunately sitting further back than he was. I can tell you he's roughly about 4.1 seconds behind Newman is Herlock and Busick, so I'm not entirely sure what happened with Gardner on that one, but it is closing back up. It's down to 3.6 at the moment here currently. So yeah, great action. Angelidis 34-second lead in the Div 3 AMS. Busick with 0.2 over Herlock, still going for it, and I still expect that to happen. Angelidis has just gone into the pits with 37 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, we're watching the battle here on your left-hand side of your screen. This is the battle for second. This is Castro and Day that are keeping each other nice and honest and just pushing through. They're trying to put some pressure through, and I mean, they're keeping each other steady. I think at this point, with 37 minutes to go, the drivers are just playing their cards a little bit. They're really trying to just make it through the night. The night is always the most challenging part of a Daytona race, and if they make it through the night, when we see the morning hit, I think that's when we're going to start seeing people really push and challenge. I think right now there's a little bit of strategy coming in and just a little bit of survival that is showing from these drivers. They don't want a DNF here with just 36 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Castro and Day are on your screen at the moment. We haven't seen much of these guys. Oliver Day there in the Porsche 904, Castro in the 904 as well. They're 7 tenths back. Both of these guys with lovely liveries on. As you can see, Castro in that martini livery almost, Day in the black with yellow. You can't see it because it isn't neoned or anything to make it bright, but he is on your screen, I promise you, there as well. I can give you an update on Becky Ely. Becky Ely's VR headset died, and unfortunately as it died she couldn't see anything. She did say did she take anybody out? I said she didn't take anybody out. You stopped before turn 7. So she's happy about that, but she said she has rejoined. Gonna see if I can mosey around using her monitor. So she's coming off VR to go to single monitors, but it was a VR headset die for Becky Ely, unfortunately, there, which just absolutely sucked. Yeah, and Miguel Ramos, their connection lost as well. So we've lost a couple of people due to technical issues, a couple of people due to internet issues, but at the end of the day, they're trying to come back here, and that is the 27 machine. That's George Angelidis going into turn 5, completely gets it wrong, and he was that turn? It wasn't turn 1. No, turn 5. Yeah, down into turn 5. So it's a difference. And now we're looking at Gilles Lalonde. Unfortunately for him. He's gone round as well in that Alpine, but different. And John Mayer on your screen going into turn one. I'm wondering whether that's Becky Ely coming out of the pits, I believe. And I wonder if Mayer may have got a little bit distracted by Ely coming off the side of the circuit. JT Tammy has also had another little bit of an incident. Okay, you really want to look at JT Tammy's because he's just slid on the straight coming into one. The back end snapped out on him and he just went completely around as soon as he started applying the brakes in that Corvette for JT Tammy, and unfortunately he's gone round with 34 minutes to go. There is some, unfortunately for JT Tammy, it just snaps on him, Brad, and it's a little bit bizarre.
Yeah, I think that's just a case of no ABS, no traction control, and you put a little bit too much in too early, and it just kind of messes with you and takes your day out here. But kind of holding on, and I believe this is Ely again sliding there through and transitioning from DR into.
I think she's calling it a day, to be honest.
Calling it a day. I can't blame you there. Transitioning that DR to single monitor, I mean, that is a hard transition to make, especially with 33 minutes to go. But that's the nature of an endurance race. You know, in real life, you deal with mechanical failures, and you deal with different things that way, lack of sleep. You know, here when you're running a 2-hour endurance race in the sim world, technical issues and different things can come up, and that's kind of the nature of the game. We don't get mechanical failures really in sim racing, but you know, you can get the technical issues, and it kind of.
I did see, going back on that one as well, what you just picked up on. I saw a GR86 the other day, and Motorland Aragon, I believe it was, on the touring car layout, get its front right suspension clear ripped over a sausage curb. Literally went over a sausage curb, literally collapsed the front right suspension, the driver's side right front suspension, put it on the floor, and that was it in the GR86. It's Herlock and Bussing still going at each other. I think from Kirby's point of view, I would hope that these guys make a mistake or something, because he is 14 seconds back, but they're side by side going into one. Are they going to be able to get it stopped? They are. Bussing's opened up the steering as well. He does manage to hold on. The Porsche and the Alfa Romeo still going at each other as well. And I do love the fact that when you follow the Alfa Romeo, they have got, I said that, Herlock has not got a rear wheel balanced on that one, but if you go to the Shelby Daytona on a follow, you will see the spare tyre for the Shelby Daytona sat on top of the machine, on top of the car. So great attention to detail from these guys at Storm Gang as the night is coming in and we're breaking into the last 31 minutes.
Yeah, 31 minutes to go. JT Tammy into the pits, and that is going to mix things up a lot at the front of the grid. We're hitting that point now where the drivers just need to let it go. They need to send it. They need to really be putting the muscle down and getting things going, and that is going to be the challenging bits here for these drivers, because some of these guys have been pushing for the past 90 minutes, and with 30 minutes to go, I'm telling you to push a little bit more. Some of these guys are going to be going, man, I've given as much as I can, but we tell you there's a little bit longer to go, and for some of these guys, if you push that little bit extra, you can find it to the end here. And Bussing and Herlock still battling it out there for the Division 1-2.
Yeah, I think I've been overtaken, goes another lap down there as well. Becky Ely didn't want to ruin anyone else's race. She's literally never driven RF2 on a monitor, and it didn't look right, and she's called it a day on that one as well. But that, unfortunately, is the joys with a VR headset. It's not the first time I've heard somebody say the battery's on and out, it's gone kaput on a VR. Some people leave it even plugged in while they're using it. Bussing looking to go on the outside. That's Ross Smith gone through. Smith sitting in second at the moment in the div freeze. Bussing and Herlock are side by side going down into turn one. There's a replay on our screen at the moment there as well. It's a bit hard to see in the pitch black, but I'm sure somebody was having a it looks like Jun had a bit of a moment there as well, unfortunately for him. But yeah, Bussing and Herlock still going at each other as well. Jun that was coming out, I believe, out of turn 7 onto the NASCAR. Too much power and it goes round now. The only good thing, as I've just been informed, it wasn't turn one as we break into the last 30 minutes here, Brad, and it's still non-stop between Busick and Herland.
JT Tammy's in and out of the pits again, and I wonder what that is. I know we were having a talk pre-stream about that turn one entry, and you really have to be careful of that white line in turn one. I don't know what happened there, but we've got a replay here. This is the 90 to 93. That is Bradley Sellers sliding off. And sir, your name is Bradley. You're supposed to drive a little bit better than that. You're going to represent us better. Come on now.
No. Why would they want to do that for?
Because I can't drive, so he's got to be able to do it.
Well, this is also true. Bradley Sellers there has got Magnus Dahlgren closing up in that 89 machine behind him. There's more back markers. That's another, I think that's an Alpha in front as I'm trying to compare cars positions, compared car images compared to the fact that they're in the dark, and it's very, very difficult to see. Sellers gone round now. Dahlgren's going to clear the back marker once more. That Dahlgren does go through there currently at the moment. But yeah, still 28 minutes remaining, Brad. What would you be up to?
28 minutes remaining. I would have DNF'd about an hour and 29 minutes ago. Probably bend it into turn one. So I'd probably be sitting in the back, eating a snack, enjoying the race. But, you know, that's why I don't drive. I commentate. I can drive. I just can't drive at the pace and the professionalism of all of the drivers in our race today. We said there was, what, an entry of 49 when it was all said and done? Or 48 cars, I believe?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing though, Brad. Doesn't it make you want to get into R Factor 2 and drive one of these cars?
It really does. I was telling you all before that R Factor isn't a sim that I've got a lot of racing time behind. I've driven a lot in it, but I'm not going to say I'm like a pro racer in it as I am, say, with iRacing or ACC, but this is making me want to go and download these mods from Storm Gang and get everything going. It's making me want to try it. I'm really, really thinking about after the stream just sitting down for a little bit and driving.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'm sure it'll definitely be worth it. Love taking the Daytona out first and then jumping into the Corvette to see the difference. That would be absolutely amazing. Sellers and Dahlgren. Dahlgren's had a great run here. It's been up within the top four all evening long and is now 8 tenths back. I do love the fact that they do at certain times slide these cars round the corners there. We've got a battle on the screen at the moment. Monet and Bowders down in the Div 1 and Div 2 AM category currently, and that's on your screen as these guys are continually to battle it out here. So action still developing over the last 26 minutes. Div 1 and Div 2, Busick and Herlock not far back. Div 1 and Div 2 AMs, Monet and Bowders battling away for fourth spit. Ross Smith is leading the Div 3 overall, but I do expect him to have to go into the pits again as Sellers and Dahlgren are now spread out a little bit now, 1.7 seconds apart here. So, yeah, last 26, you just want to keep it going, Brad, don't you? You just want to keep it on the circuit.
Yeah, but this is the most challenging point because remember, these guys have been out here for over an hour and a half now. So at this point, 26 minutes to go, this is really where you need to focus in. You need to keep things going. When you're on that backstretch, grab a drink of water, stretch a hand, do something that can keep you together through the rest, so that way you can nail turn one and hold on to it there. As we see Smirnoff and Barker there nailing turn one, almost not nailing turn one, but doing very, very well to keep it together. Here we are with Monet and Bowders right behind. Bowders here is slipstreaming, trying to hold on. We're into the dead of night with 25 minutes to go here, and at this point, this is the most challenging time. Of course, remember in real life, you'd be, you know, many hours through and it's nighttime and everything. But with these guys, again, we're 90 minutes of 2 hours in. It's just keep your focus about you. And it's one thing for me to say it and be sitting here commentating, as these guys are giving me a workout. But it's another one for these guys on track.
Yeah, I do fully agree. For driving anything over an hour, for me, I'm just very much like, man, I don't want to do that one. You know what I mean? Doing an endurance race with somebody and doing a 2-hour stint. By the time I get off, I'm fucking old man sweat flesh. It's just disgusting. So for these guys, I'm sure it's going to be even harder, and that's driving with cars that have got ABS and all the other fancy jazz. These have got absolutely nothing. And I believe that's Suvic coming up behind Bowders and Monet in the Porsche 904 here. So let's see how Suvic handles this traffic. Is he going to go and send it up the inside? Sensible thing would be not to. And Suvic in that 81 machine doesn't there. Coming in through turn 5 and off on the run through 6 and down into 7. Used a straightaway Suvic. You've got all of it there, and you've got power for days over these guys. So I'm expecting Suvic to make that overtaking of the back markers in there. And now we're back down into the racing class that's been providing extremely great action all night long, and they're still providing great action all night long as they're coming past a lap camera Barker. They're going 3 wide down into turn 1, and I say that precariously. Barker, you gotta back out, mate. You gotta back out here. Back. Where's the 243 going? Where are you going? There's no room at the end, dear sir. You can't go and go, oh, I know, I've gone 3 wide, and now Smirnoff is trying to take it even further. Come on, use a bit of the noddle that God gave us.
I mean, really wanted to get that center on the outside. I'm very surprised that no wrecks happened there. It's the 243 and the 111 here, side by side, still battling things out through the International Horseshoe, but coming back through and around. I mean, golly, these guys are racing 23 minutes ago, and you would think this is the final lap the way these guys are racing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You've got to race like your life depended on it sometimes, and these guys are. And I think it's really interesting to see these guys battling it out. Barker's back in front of Nikita Smirnoff once more, and Smirnoff has kept a tighter line going in through 5 on that run down into 6, which is just this little left-hander, which really is it really a turn? Yeah. No put the foot discussion, but we do love the Americans loving their corner numbers here when you go to VIR and you've got 17 A, B, C, and D. There, I think the guy just got round after the second corner there, Brad, and just completely denied naming the other 21. As we see George Andalidis there. Oh, funny enough, that's in turn 1. So turn 1 for George Andalidis there. Back with the curse at turn 1 as well. Bananas and Sushi is in YouTube chat. I can listen to James announcing a chess match. So there we go. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that one, for bigging me up there as well, as the producer has just said completely something different in the hero. But overall, thank you very much for your kind words there. I'm going to ignore the producer now. Anything he says to me, I'm just going to try and ignore him. It's not always easy though, because he does have a booming voice in my ear. As Herlock and Bussing still battling out, going down into turn 1. Herlock goes through again. Bussing's going to try and run that outside line into 1. They're both on the brakes. The Alpha's on the brakes. Bussing's on the brakes. Bussing makes it through Herlock this time and takes the lead once more. Again, I don't think this is done. So get your drinks, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy these battles. Here is the other 3 classes are probably wrapped up by now with Ross Smith, unless Smith's got to pit, of course. One more, did Freehand with Jerry Chen and DeMarzo, again, depending on pit stops, whether or not there's a splash and dash. And Mika Tyron has led all evening over Castro, but it is Bussing and Herlon there is currently on your screen. As you can see in the div freeze, it is Ross Smith being chased down by Bradley Sellers and Magnus Dahlgren, with JT Tammy in 4th, Vesa and Suvic rounding out the top 6. Then in div 3, you've got Chen, DeMarzo, Angelina Zacic, Maya is there, Maya is out. In the div 1 and 2, Bussing, Herlock, Kirby, Andrew Shunt and Zakharodov. Gornev, sorry, apologies, DM me. Or if anybody watches this back and I've butchered your name, please DM me back here as well, because I will try and correct it. Or the best thing to do is send me an MP4 of how to pronounce it. That will help me massively. In the Div 1 and Div 2 rounds, Mika Tyron has basically been out front. He's run away with it all evening long. Herlo with Castro, Day, Bowders, Monet, and Good Life. Good Life has his own little issues currently as well. So, good life there. Having a little bit of problems. Brad Smith's in the pits. There we go. We did say, does he have to come in? And he has come in from the leader of the race. That should release Bradley Sellers, but it depends again if Sellers has got a pit here, Brad, once more.
Yeah, at this point, I think Sellers needs to be conserving if Sellers has not. Bradley Sellers, though, with that first name, big brain, and is going to hold on to it and go through it. James, we did a broadcast earlier this week, and someone put in YouTube that they wanted a recording of your voice. Did you ever end up doing that for them? Did you ever end up making that recording and sending that off for a ringtone?
I didn't, actually. I haven't. That was the BSC on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? No.
No, that was Thursday.
No, it was Thursday night. No, I haven't yet. I'm waiting for the person to DM me and for me to do a recording of what they want. That all stems from the fact of that one of the guys, his wife, right? He's come back and has joined. That's one of the races as Oliver Newman just goes and pirouettes himself off there as well. Unfortunately for him. It all stemmed from the fact that a guy come back into a JPB series, he started racing again, his wife watched it back with him as they normally do, it's normally a thing for them, and his wife turned around and said to him, oh, I do miss his voice, he's so much better than the other guy. So that's how it all stemmed from, and then somebody on Thursday said about me recording birthday wishes, or something to sell birthday cards, and it's all kind of stemmed from there. So and then, of course, Bananas in Sushi saying you can listen to me doing a chess match. We could be in trouble. I do the IFL and IGP, and I love JP Broadcasting. I have the logo on all my rear wings. So there we go. Thank you so much, Bananas in Sushi. We think we've lost Hildebrand here, who unfortunately looks like he may have been out or possibly disconnected. I can tell you now, actually, he went off the side of the circuit at about 1:23.19 into turn one. He goes over the grass, unfortunately for Hildebrand, spins it backwards and just about keeps it out the tyre barrier for Hildebrand there as well. This is Bradley Sellers, I believe, on our screen. Mike Bell, actually, sorry, they're in very similar liveries. And Mike Bell, unfortunately, coming into, funny enough, turn one. Oliver Newman again having another off and really jeopardizing his there as well as he goes off.
Man, we are starting to lose more people here, James, as we watch another DNF stacking up here. We're down to only 40 runners, I believe, at this point. Sorry, make it 39 runners here. Jason Whitehead is DNF'd out. So we're losing cars here, and with 17 minutes to go, it's kind of unfortunate to see people DNFing at this point.
Yeah, I think sometimes fatigue, the dark, it's easier, generally overall going from the light to dark, because you should be able to hit your braking markers, but that's obviously on a 24 version of Daytona. We're not on that. You haven't got these lights shining down on you. You've got, nothing. And I think overall it's just basically them could be possibly missing their points and then ended up into a barrier as Bussing and Herlock still going out in the Div 1 and Div 2 AMs here, fighting it away with 16 minutes on the clock. It's definitely more difficult, I think, in the dark with these cars on this circuit. I think if you put these on the 2024 circuit, you'd have a different race altogether.
Yeah, I would agree with that because there'd be more light, you could see better, different style. I'm curious to know what would happen if we did put these on the 24 circuit. Sounds like a good experiment that we could run here in the BWSC. I'm sure it won't get approved, but hey, I can just propose it, right? Nobody said it had to be approved. I can just propose it.
If Ross has anything to go by, mate, he's like a closed book. Whenever I tried to get anything out of him last season, I didn't get nothing out of him. We found out at, where was we for the final race of the season? Long Beach, I think it was, where we got announced what the 64 Historics was. So I wouldn't be surprised, yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does the same thing again. They're currently with Bussing and Herlock battling it out. 15 minutes to go. Pattern the recording, it would be the 2050 voice of the AI government, says Bananas and Sushi there in YouTube chat. But Herlock on Bussing goes for again. And as per normal, I think this is just going to be a continuing knock-on effect throughout this evening. Smith's come out of the pits in 4th. He's trying to chase down on JT Tammy. He is pulling chunks out of him. So Ross Smith is catching JT Tammy here going into the last 15 with 1.4 seconds to overturn.
Yeah, last 15 minutes here, and he's pulling about 8/10 a lap at least out of him. I mean, he's putting in some good laps. Ross Smith is against JT Tammy, putting in some time, and Magnus Dahlgren there in P2 is going even slower. So Ross Smith, keep your eyes on Ross Smith through this last 15 minutes. He may still have enough time to pull out P2. I'm not going to guarantee him the win, but he is also running faster than our race leader. So could be there when it comes down to the end. At least a P2 is on the table, I think, for Ross Smith.
No. I'm going to disagree with you, Brad, and I'm sorry. There is 14 minutes on the clock, right? Ross has got to do a second a lap, okay? Give or take to pull over. Ross's last time 2:01.830. Magnus Dahlgren's 2:03.198, which give or takes about 1.2 seconds. He's not going to have enough time to be able to catch Dahlgren. As much as I would love to see Ross Smith in second, I think third is going to be it. If he can get past the C2 Stingray of JT Tammy in front, and he's only 1.4 seconds up the road.
Yeah, well, and I'm wondering though if Dahlgren doesn't need to pit again. I'm really curious, these front three, if they don't need to pit again, because Ross Smith has done 2 pit stops, everybody else has done 1. So that's the thing. Where's the strategy lay in? Are we expecting a splash and go from them anywhere? And depending on what happens with that, I think will also affect things. JT Tammy there in the Stingray starting to feel some pressure though. Ross Smith less than a second separating them as we're going through the infield section here. And I think Ross Smith is going to be able to take this Show Me Daytona and just fling it right on around that Stingray based on what I've been seeing out of these cars tonight.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be hard. I think Smith is looking so comfortable in that Daytona. I think, we can see there, Tammy getting it all wrong. Flames coming out the side of the C2. Ross Smith hanging out the window with his marshmallows on his way past, getting toasted marshmallows out of JT Tammy's Corvette as the ladies and guys are going onto that back oval. And I think it's going to be Ross Smith by the time they get down into turn 1 here. I'm going to think it's very hard for JT Tammy to hold on to this.
Yeah, JT Tammy, at this point, I don't think he can, because the thing is, Ross Smith, fresh in the pits, coming out, is just going to be faster. There's just not a lot you can do there. Now, the cars are very evenly matched, of course, here, but as we go, the Corvette is going to feel the pressure here. Smith dives out, and yeah, this one's going to be done and dusted before NASCAR 3.
Yeah, but it's whether or not JT Tammy can slot back in and do the same thing, of course. I'm not quite sure why he isn't. In you go, bud. In you go. Come on. Big it up for the Corvettes. As Tammy does slot back in finally here. As he's flashing the lights, trying to say, hey, we're going round. That's Ben Borman who nearly ends up taking them out. Here, Smith on the lights as well. He's flashing like an absolute frantic individual. JT Tammy, squirrely. Oh, Smith had that car planted going into turn 1 there as well, Brad, and it looked more, Smith's car looked more comfortable than JT Tammy's did.
Yeah, Smith is just in his element right now with 11 minutes left to go here. Just looks so comfortable and so happy here. We got a replay coming up here, and this is going to be Bradley Sellers not doing the first name well, going a wee woo into the International Horseshoe. Sorry, that was the left horseshoe. Here's Castro coming around at 127, and oh, he had help. I think that's some of the first contacts we've seen here in this race.
Yeah, I think Castro, that is there. Castro there, that was helped from the 63 machine. That was Gray helped Castro off, and there, unfortunately, for him. But Smith now ahead of Tammy. Tammy losing the draft a little bit in that C2. here, unfortunately for JT Tammy. He's going to have to settle in and just try and catch up where he can over Smith. I think he's losing a little bit of the draft as well and is slowly dropping back. Is JT Tammy. He's now closing in little bits by little bits. It's half a second. Is it going to get down any further? Smith's on the way out. 4 tenths now on the left hand. You can see it there. It's now coming down to 3 tenths. JT Tammy on the march. 3 tenths. Get it down into 2. 2.7, 2.6, 2.5, 2.4. Is he going to be able to go past Smith? He's looking at the outside line. Surely trying to cut back. Cut back. Get on the brakes. Oh, I don't think he's going to be able to cut back on Smith for JT Tammy. And he's going to have to sit there again, Brad. Just didn't quite have enough.
Yeah, the Corvette does not have enough in braking to make that turn 1 dive work, unfortunately. And here's another replay. Oh! Adam Gray and Alfredo Cabrera coming together there and just absolutely clobbering both of them out of turn 2. Man, that's an unfortunate one to see.
Yeah, I think that was led by the fact that Cabrera had gone down on the apron. He got all a little bit loose, did Cabrera, and he just couldn't control the coming back up. He come back up with an absolute thump, and unfortunately, he thumped right into Gray. And you see Gray comes over to try and cover him off. Cabrera ends up on the apron, and then he just flicks straight up into Gray there, unfortunately. But Gray did try and block him off. Cabrera had a moment of doubt, and now, unfortunately, Cabrera there was the one that caught, well, the way, depending on how they're going to look at that penalty, because initially he was blocked off. So are they going to look at it from there as Bussink and Herlock are in the bottom right-hand corner? I believe this is Smith and Tammy still on your screen. Tammy now, what's he got, 2-7, 2-1 back, I think he is currently with JT Tammy. So Tammy and Smith, no, that's out to a second now as Herlock and Bussink still scrapping it out. Sellers is into the pits.
No.
I did say. I said he went in on 55. Would he have to splash and dash within the last 10 minutes? And it looks like Brandon Sellers has had to splash and dash within the last 10 minutes. Dahlgren's going to go through. Is Smith going to go through? He has. JT Tammy's gone through. And Sellers, pitting on the 55 mark here, Brad, is now unfortunately in 4th place as he comes out the pit.
This changes everything with 7.5 minutes left to go. I don't know. Man, why? I think Smith has just landed the strategy game.
Yeah, but it's whether or not Dahlgren's got to go in now. If Dahlgren goes in, Smith's going to take the win, and he's going to be unbearable if he comes in for an interview. But I think deep down we'd all be very, very happy for Mr. Smith, the fact that he is going to take a win. That would be absolutely awesome. But I think it's just going to be, yeah, very, very interesting now if he does end up coming into the pits. If Dahlgren does, that will release Sellers and let him go through.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very, very close all the way through. And also, keep your eye on that battle for the Division 1-2, because it was Bussink and Herlock. Now Herlock's 3.6 back. I don't know what happened that caused that gap to open up, but they were still swapping back and forth. But of course, Dahlgren here, you have one job, and that is make sure you have enough fuel to survive. 6 minutes, 3, 2, 1 seconds. You've got 6 minutes to survive here, Dahlgren. Can you do it? I hope you can. This is the replay of what happened there with Bussink and that. Yeah, turn 1, Herlock.
Yeah. Into deep to Herlock there, unfortunately, and he goes and drops back from Bussink. So Herlock, unfortunately, going to have to drop back a little bit. On your screen is Smith there. Smith is well ahead of Tammy, 1.4 seconds. He's 8.664 is all. Well, he's just coming down rapidly. Have we lost Dahlgren? Yeah, because I'm a little bit confused how that's just dropped 4 seconds down a straightaway on the left-hand side there.
I'm wondering. I don't know what happened. I want to assume turn 1, but I might be wrong. So gap is 5 seconds now between Dahlgren and Smith.
Okay, well, it's now 5 seconds. Let's see how Dahlgren gets on, whether or not he can hold the lead, or does he have to pit here? We're going to find out very, very shortly, I'm sure. And it's going to be great action as we're into the last 4:49 on the clock. So hold on to your hats. It's going to get spicy. It's going to be absolutely epic. And I can guarantee you there's still action to come here as well. So settle down, get ready. Let's see what happens. Can Smith take the win? Will Dahlgren have to go into the pits, Brad?
If everyone else is having to, I can't imagine how Dahlgren's not going to have to. But JT Tammy in P3 has only done 1 pit stop, and Timon Savuk has only done 1 pit, or Suvik has only done 1 pit stop. So, I mean, it's very much a 50-50 toss-up. As you look up and down the field, you know, there's a number of drivers that have had to do 2 pits. There's a number of drivers that have done 1 pit. I hope Dahlgren's conserved enough fuel to make it another 3 minutes and 50 seconds. But, I mean, we'll find out in 3 minutes and 50 seconds, won't we?
We definitely will. This is coming borderline on the end now of this race. These guys have been at this for well over 2 hours here, and they're doing an epic scrap. Don't forget there was obviously warm-up and practice and qualifying, so they've done quite a lot of work here as well. And Dahlgren is unfortunately gone off, I believe, here. And Magnus Dahlgren there. Ross Smith is tucked up right behind him. Dahlgren and Smith literally 0.2 apart. Smith looks like he's got the pace over Dahlgren, mind you. As we're just having a look here what Magnus Dahlgren got up to. It looks like the run into turn 5. And unfortunately for Dahlgren, there was a little bit of argy-bargy, I believe. And now Dahlgren is in front of Ross Smith. So keep an eye out for this one, Brad. It's hotting up for the lead here as Magnus Dahlgren there with the replay going into turn 1. Big old slide. Yeah, too much applying on the brakes. It's same as JT Tammy there, Brad. Exactly what JT Tammy's car did. And now we've got the guys battling out.
Yeah, this mixes everything up with just a couple minutes to go here, because now Dahlgren and Smith are separated by a paper clip. And it's just, oh my gosh, 2 minutes, 25 seconds left to go. And these guys are separated by less than a second. Dahlgren locked up again, going onto the speedway. Here we go. Come on, Smith. You've got to get this. Come on, Smith.
It's Ross Smith sitting in second place there. Not that we're biased on the JPB channel, of course, or up here in the JPB booth. I promise you, there are other people battling, but this is Ross Smith and Dahlgren, the man who said he was not ever going to make the win. He said, we will see, but he was in love with the Daytona, and he is in love with the Daytona. He's done an absolute stellar job. Now with Dahlgren, he's running the high line. He's trying to get squeezed. Dahlgren's trying to squeeze him like an orange in a juicer. The battle for the overall lead. The battle for the overall lead is taking it. Ross Smith are coming into what should be the final lap if my calculations are correct. And he is winning the class. He's winning the overall. Ross Smith has just got to hold it for one more lap here, Brad. And he is the overall champion.
Ross Smith, keep your wits together here. You have just a handful of corners and a way to go. His biggest challenge is going to be keeping it in the backstretch, though. That long slipstream all the way around the speedway. He might be in, honestly, the worst position possible as he's sliding here through the horseshoe. He honestly might need to let Dahlgren through to repass him on the speedway. Otherwise, I think he might be in trouble right now with the lead as we come through with just about 3/4 of a lap to go here.
Well, we're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back and hold on to your hats. There is going to be fireworks. There is going to be fireworks. Ross Smith, George Angelidis moves out of the way. JT Tammy's trying to get involved. He's just flashed Angelidis. Move, George, move. Smith's made a mistake. He's made a mistake. Oh, he's cooked it. Ross Smith, you're done. You are done. And if there's ever a time to not make a mistake, that was it for Smith. That was it. And he did. He cooked it coming out of 7. He cooked it there as well. The car is all loose. He's now going to try and close down the second gap. He isn't going to be able to get it done. It's going to be Dahlgren. It's going to be Smith. It's going to be Tammy. And I can tell you that much, Smith is going to be kicking himself when he comes in there as well. As there's a big old yarn from Paul. Smith is coming now. He's got 3 temps. Is he going to be able to do it? Is he going to be able to do it? They're coming down to the line. It's 2 temps between the two. It's 2 temps. Dahlgren gets it. Oh. Deary me.
So close.
Oh, Ross Smith, go and just completely kick yourself for allowing that one to get away in the lead in the final lap of the race, and he didn't get through. There we go. Woo. I feel tired now as Jerry Chen comes over there. He's going to take the win. It should take the win, and it did 3 hands by quite a country mile. Bussing's going to win the Div 1 and 2 with Herlock making a mistake as well. McIntyre has never lost the lead at Div 1, Div 2 hands, and has come over the lead. He should come over the line, the winner. So, yeah, great action. Standings on your screen. Dahlgren and Smith separated by nothing. JT Tammy putting a Corvette on 3rd place. Bradley Sellers 4th. Timon Suvic, Carl Vesser, George Angelidis, Barry DeMazo, Mike Bell, and John Mayer in 13th there. Great action from all of these guys, and some absolutely incredible battling once more. We'll see if we can bring you up the next page if we can of the standings, but Jerry Chen's going to come over the line. It takes the victory in the Div 3 AMs. Stellar job from him. George Angelidis, Barry DeMazo, Jakub Zagic, John Mayer and Peter Meyer are out. That's the Div 3 AM Championship. In the Div 1 and 2, Elko Bussening wins overall with Herlock in 2nd, Devin Junt in 5th. Where's 3rd and 4th gone? Kirby and Andrews, Junt and Zagarodnev in 6th. Reese Garden in 7th, Newman 8th, Scar Pope in 9th, Gilles Lalonde is in 10th. There you go, they have appeared. Darren Andrews and David Junt there maybe just hadn't come across the line. Gilles Lalonde all the way down in 10th place. Stephen, going down into the Div 1 and 2, sorry. Tigran Mkhitaryan in 1st, Oliver Day in 2nd, Diego Castro in 3rd, Eric Monet 4th, James Bowders 5th, Luke Goodlife 6th, Mateus Bogle in 7th, Alfredo Cabrera in 8th, Fernando Ferreira in 9th, and Adam Gray in 10th. It's been one of, I think, the most interesting races, Brad. I think we can safely say that if that's what we're looking forward to for the rest of the season, wow, that's all I can say about that.
If this 2 hours represents what this season is going to be, it's going to be a fun time all the way down to the 7th of December. And this is just round 1. How? Oh my gosh. Everything about this is perfect.
Absolutely. I've got to agree. It's just been amazing. I have loved every single minute of this one. We will get some people into the waiting room. I want you... Oh, I can't move him. Why can I never move Mr. Smith here? Can we get Jerry Chen? Is Jerry Chen able to come down? He's not in chat. What about Bussink? Is he in chat? Jerry Chen is there as well, but let's bring Magnus Dahlgren in for a chat. He had battles. He had battles with Sellers. He had battles with Smith. He had battles with JT Tammy. He was just the battler there as well. It was like watching the old style Mike Tyson in the body and the crested form of Magnus Dahlgren. He went and took the win. He had it on the final lap. Magnus Dahlgren, welcome into the booth, buddy. How are you?
Thank you. I feel like public enemy number one almost. Shit.
Why?
Just so many fights, you know.
Oh, dude, you were fighting with everyone. There wasn't a time when we didn't see you with Suvik, or we didn't see you with Sellers or Tammy or Smith. Did you think? No, I've got to ask this question. Did you think on the last lap you were going to win?
No, not really. I was thought I lost it, you know.
Yeah, and then he made a mistake. Did you sit back and think yes, or oh, shame?
Well, I tried to push him, you know. So I think he made a little error by my by my hand, as you say.
You didn't push him off though, Magnus, did you?
No, I just think I put the heat on him, you know.
Oh, put him too much pressure on him. You mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought the way you said that then, bud, I thought you actually went down and just pushed him off the side of the circuit. But never mind. Anyway, that's just my old man ears there. But a great job from you, buddy. How fun are the cars to drive? Because they look amazing.
These cars are absolutely brilliant to drive. I just love them so much. And the tires are just amazing. You can do so much with them.
Yeah, you can. And I think overall, it's just been watching these cars has been incredible. Were you involved in the development of the 64 cars?
No, not at all.
Wow. Well, there you go. I think it's been absolutely amazing, buddy, and well done to you. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, of course?
Just to the CMS guys and the SGS guys, that's a fantastic job, and all the drivers. I had amazing fights all around, and it was just a fantastic race. It's probably one of my best races ever.
Yeah, I think it's been our best race as well to watch. It was just absolutely insane. But Magnus, thank you so much for coming into the booth, buddy, and we'll look forward to seeing how this season goes on for you.
Thank you, and thank you guys as well.
Thank you very much for that one here as well. So let's drop Magnus back up. I have got Mr. Smith. He has been 12 rounds with everyone. Sellers, Tammy, Dahlgren, Suvik, the win, the second, going into the final lap of the race. He was in the lead. He comes into turn 7, one dab of the brakes too much. He loses the car, and unfortunately, he loses first place by 0.6 of a second. Mr. Smith, tell us about it. What happened?
I feel like you just told it all again. I'm unfortunately reliving that. Yeah, it was my race to throw away, and unfortunately, it just the car was a little bit too spicy going into that corner, well, I mean, that was pretty much it. I was hoping that it didn't go too far, because I would have been able to get a run and take him kind of like I did with Scar Pope on Tuesday, but it wasn't meant to be. But you know, it's a good result for the team, considering that the teammates couldn't be here. So you know, overall, I'm pleased. And it was good racing with Magnus. I mean, he fought me hard, man, but he kept it clean and kept it fair. So I can't complain.
Yeah, we had up here in the booth that Bradley Sellers, when he went in on 104 with 104 remaining, I did question the fact that if he's gone 55, he would have to go 55 again. And he did go 55. He had to pit with about 6-7 minutes remaining. You know, can you work that one out in the car, Ross, do you think?
Well, you can. There's a lot going on, and obviously, once you start getting to pit road, your mind is on how the hell do I stop this thing. But you know, outside of that, as far as getting the numbers out, I know everyone had a little bit of strategy around that. I obviously did kind of an under and over sort of deal, because I figured if rain was going to show up, I wanted the car to be kind of lighter across both stints if possible. So I imagine that maybe there was something similar going on there. He's in the Shelby, so I know that yeah, I mean, that thing does not hold near as much as any of the other cars. So I'm not sure. Maybe he had like a little scoof coming in or something.
Yeah, it's just been absolutely unbelievable racing, Ross. It's been pure back and forward here as well, and we've had a great time. Anyone you want to shout out, Ross, before we let you go?
Just everyone who showed up for today. Thanks to you guys for putting on a wonderful broadcast. I can't wait to watch it back. Um, the CMS guys, the SGS guys who are running. It's just been fantastic. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. We've endured a lot up here in the booth of has myself and Bradley as well. As we know, we've got the wonderful Paul Glover on production, so we've endured quite a lot, Ross. But thanks so much there, buddy, for joining me. I'll leave you where you are, as I could not actually move you because you're a higher person than me, so I can't unfortunately move you. But I'm going to bring Busanik into the pits here as well. Elko has joined us. He is your winner. Of course, he's had battles with Kirby. He had battles with Horlock. It come down to the 4 minutes. Horlock made a mistake. He went through, he took the win, and he wrapped it up after what can only be deemed as an absolute epic evening of racing. Elko, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Hello, good evening. Yeah, I'm pretty good. It's been a fight. It's been an absolute fight.
Fight? Dude, that's like going 9 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, first I thought Ben Borman would just run away with it, but he had an unfortunate disconnect. And then at some point, both Daniels were in front of me like 5 seconds, and I thought, nah, they slipstreaming each other on the oval, and I just can't get to them again. And for some reason, they had some sort of weird fight. I don't know what happened, but I closed up. And then after the pit stops, I was there with Herlock, switching around on the oval constantly. But I think I was almost certain that I would have him at the start-finish straight every time we went there. So I wasn't too worried with that battle, but it was a struggle.
It definitely was. I can tell you what happened to Kirby and Horlock if you want. Kirby went off at turn 5 and Horlock followed him. They went off in sympathy of each other. That allowed you to close right in, which was it was very bizarre to watch, to be blatantly honest. But yeah, they did go off together. That allowed you to close back in as well. Great driving in the Porsche. How fun was the car to get hold of?
Yeah, it's great fun. This is the second race I'm doing with this car, and it's great fun to drive. It's more, I wouldn't say lenient, but it's very kind, but it's really hard to get pace out of. So it's quite safe to drive, but it's really hard. You have to be really on the edge to get fast, which apparently I managed.
You did manage it very well, dear sir, and well done for you for taking the Div 1-2 win there as well. Going forward, though, are we going to see you here for the rest of the season? Because after that race, I would be signing up for the next one.
I am definitely signing up for the next race, yes.
I would as well.
I'm planning on doing the entire season, yes.
Awesome stuff. Well, Olga, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oliver Newman, my teammate. He actually got me into this car, so yeah. Thanks to him, I'm at P1 at this race today.
Yeah, he did have a bit of a struggle himself, unfortunately, for Oliver. But yeah, overall, we done a great job there as well. Elgo, thanks so much there, buddy. And we'll look forward to seeing what you can do in the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Right, next up for a chat, as I almost moved myself out of the booth as somebody moved Elko before I did. I'm going to bring in Jerry Chen here. He was battling with Angelidis. He took the win in the end quite comfortably. But Jerry, welcome into the booth, dear sir. How are you?
Good. Thank you, gentlemen. That was incredibly intense and amazingly fun, and also incredibly scary with the traffic.
Mate, I got to admit, we've got obviously Paul on production, and he didn't even know where to point the camera at one point because it was just action, action, action. For you out there, it was 3 wide going past traffic. It was 4 wide going past traffic. How scary was it?
That first stint, especially like the first 10 laps, were incredibly scary because I think there were about 4 or 5 pros that I qualified in front of, and I knew they were all eager to get by me. And sure enough, first lap, first turn, I saw a Ferrari on the inside, a Shelby on my outside, sandwich me going to turn 1. I was like, okay, guys, we got 2 hours. Let's calm down a little. Yeah, so it was just the first stint was just me trying to save tires. I did have a little bit of an off at turn one, a little at one point, and George got by, and then George and I ran nose to tail for a couple laps, and then I think coming out of NASCAR turn 4, there was a Division 1 car, I think an Alpha, and it started to drift up, so we both went wide, high side, and George, I think, carried just a little too much speed, and he tagged the wall and bounced down into the pit lane. But otherwise, I think we probably could have been nose to tail for the entire race. It would have been epic.
Yeah, it definitely would have been me. And to be honest with you, I fully loved it. It was just incredible racing. It was probably one of the best races we've had here on the CMS broadcast. It was absolutely incredible. Going forward for you, though, Jerry, where do you see yourself coming towards the end of the season?
Oh, I know from past seasons, like with the 98s we ran last year, like George and Barry and our pace is basically identical every race. Doesn't matter what cars we drive, we always find each other. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a battle right to the last race of the season. So,
Well, yeah, we will look forward to that one, Jerry. Thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. And anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
No, I mean the traffic was great. All the Division 1 and 2 cars were awesome. It was a great show by everybody.
Yeah, it definitely was. I have to fully agree with you, and that was just absolutely outstanding. So, Jerry, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy, and we look forward to seeing what you do in the Div 3 Arms this season.
All right, thanks, guys.
So there you go. That has wrapped it up here this evening. And I think overall, Brad, we can safely say that was probably one of the best races we have ever had here.
That race was absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm going to go back and watch it again because the thing is, there was so much action. There were so many things going on. I just, wow. Like, it truly gets me excited for where this season is going to go.
Yeah, I have no idea, mate. No idea whatsoever, but it was absolutely incredible. Thank you to everyone who has joined us here as well. Mr. Reese, Banana and Sushi, 90ED6LSV Kerbizzle, and Lot the Rears. Oops, had a great race with Elko and Kirby. You definitely did there as well, sir. But for now, guys, that's going to bring it up to an end here as well. I've been James Parfit alongside Bradley Dalton with Paul Glover in the booth behind us as well. On the production, and he's done an absolutely stellar job. But for now, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obviously turn on the bells. There's more action coming up on the CMS and JPB YouTube channel. There is no fewer than about 4 broadcasts tomorrow on the JPB YouTube channel starting at 2 p.m. So thank you so much for that one. Nathaniel, well, thank you again for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. But for now, guys, as always, up here in the JPB booth, you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.